Hello and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe Football Show. I'm your host, Joe Fair. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Island Boys' favorite football podcast. That's right, I'm joined once again by my illustrious producer, Joe Thiessen, and a special
Nobody
guest.
else.
Nobody else.
Let's get on with the show.
No, I'm joined by our good buddy Joel. For the first time in 4 years, he's on this podcast.
4 years.
4 years. We've only been doing the podcast for like a year and a half, but it's...
I realize how awkward it is for you right now because you want to look at Joe, but you can't without turning away from the mic.
Yeah.
So you'll have to be creative with that. I apologize.
It's a bit rough. But listen, number one, it has been 4 years. Number two, if you talk about the Island Boys again, it might be 4 years.
You don't want to talk about the Island Boys?
Dude, I am not in on that. I'm not in on that.
I'm all in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. Dude, they are honestly a generational talent.
They're awful.
I
They're
love
terrible.
I love them. I love everything about them.
They've changed the way that music is, per se.
They've changed the way that we perceive music.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, we were talking, people that have changed things, like, to that extent. Michael Jackson. I'm talking
Oh, yeah.
the Rolling Stones.
Come on.
Cher.
Yeah, Cher.
You're not doing this right now.
Madonna.
Honestly,
Drizzy?
Ed Sheeran. Ed
Ed
right?
Sheeran, the biggest sellout of all time.
The biggest sellout of all time. I feel like Ed Sheeran became everything everyone made fun of him for being. Like, like when he made Multiply, everyone's like, "Oh, Ed Sheeran's such a sellout," and his fans were like, "No, he's not."
Yeah.
And then he actually sold out all the way. Like, completely.
I haven't listened to his new album.
Oh, I haven't listened to it either. I just listened to those songs that are on the radio.
Okay.
And they're just so bad.
Ooh.
Have you not heard them? Like,
I've heard that one that goes nobody knows. That one?
Yeah, that's a really bad song.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
not
but
good.
there's another one. There's a different one, and it's also just as bad.
Ooh, yeah, no, I haven't listened to it, but
Just going to jump in real quick because this is my podcast.
Oh, yeah.
What are we doing?
But yeah. Sorry.
We're talking about Ed Sheeran now?
Listen,
Is that
honestly,
what we're talking-
What did you want to?
I was trying to deflect off the Island Boy thing, so I was like, "How about we just bring
I
this
feel
over
like
to
we're
Ed
deflecting and we're not talking about what we should have been talking about.
About what?
We're the Island Boys. That's what we
Okay.
were talking about. No, we don't have to
Where
talk
are they?
about the
Do
island.
you know? So what do you
What
know?
island are they from?
I think they're from
What?
Florida.
Sheeran. No, that's not even an island.
No, they're Caribbean. I think.
They're
Wait.
actually Caribbean people?
I think they lived there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I have no
There's
idea.
no way they're from the Caribbean.
They probably are.
I feel like those two dudes would be the absolute worst people to hang out with in your
Oh,
life
no.
ever.
I'd love to give it a shot.
I love that.
Let's get them on the pod.
Yeah.
Did you know
Yeah.
that dreads, like what they have, like those dreads that they
Yeah.
have, they actually stink. Like they don't smell
Oh,
good.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, no. Certain
'Cause
dreads
you don't
can't wash your
wash
hair.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
wash your hair, so you're gonna hang out with these stinky boys
Stinky
who have
boy.
who have grills.
Stinky boy.
Come on, guys. Stinky boys.
I'm a
Stinky
stinky boy.
boys.
And then they
Yeah.
have like these grills in. They don't
Yeah.
even have their real teeth, and then they
Yeah.
have face tattoos. Like, all right,
And how often do you think they brush those grills?
yeah,
Yeah.
they are
Are grills
definitely
like a permanent part of their teeth?
Yeah, you can get them. You can get permanent. Like DaBaby, you know DaBaby?
Yeah. No.
He has permanent. Okay, he has permanent grills.
Really?
Really?
That
but-
seems like a big investment.
Yeah, I know. But
I thought babies didn't have teeth.
Yeah. Get off.
get off.
All right, get off the podcast,
You're not
leave.
on the podcast anymore.
No, but this is the Average Joe Football Show. If you guys have not listened before, we're gonna talk about football at some point. Joel's gonna talk a little football. He's gonna bring some fire hot takes because that's what he does when he comes on the podcast. He gives us hot takes, and then later on, we're gonna bring in the co-host of the show, Mike. We're gonna talk a little Week 9. What was an insane Week 9 in the NFL, just full of insanity. Honestly, it was a ridiculous week in the NFL. But right now, every show, for those of you that don't know, we like to start off just talking a little banter, talking about non-football related stuff, because we have a producer on the show that no matter how much he comes to my house and watches football, he will never pick it up. He can't figure it out.
Ask me something about football right now.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
didn't know what the Buffalo
Okay.
Bills were last
Quiz me right now.
Who is the?
And make sure it's not like, okay, don't be like stupid about it.
No,
well.
this is an easy one. This is an easy one. Who is the Arizona Cardinals starting quarterback?
Kyler Murray.
Wow.
Wow. Do you know who started for them this week?
That doesn't matter.
Honestly, I think that's out of his range. I think
Yeah,
Kyler
that's
Murray was-
100%. Okay, who is the Indianapolis Colts quarterback?
Adam Thielen.
No, but good. That's
a name.
Honestly, I'm surprised you know the name, so I'm gonna give you some points for that.
That's kind of close, honestly.
It's my greatest enemy, but also my friend because I want him to
Justin
do well.
Herbert. No, Zach Ertz.
No, Zach Ertz.
Justin Herbert.
No, I love Zach Ertz with all my heart, mind, and soul.
Goddard. Dallas Goddard. Nope.
No.
These are just you're doing good with Eagles related
With
players.
Eagles names, it's
Thanks,
Carson
man.
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Carson
Yes.
Wentz.
I was trying to say that name the whole time.
Yeah.
No,
Who's the
you
starting
weren't.
quarterback for the Dolphins?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes.
Not really though.
Who started for them this week?
Zach Ertz.
Very good. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Who?
Jacoby
Okay.
Brissett.
Where?
Jacoby Brissett.
Hang on. Let's see. Where do the Jaguars play?
Where?
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Man,
Nice,
you have learned a
dude.
lot because last year, like at work, we would just ask Joe, like, where does this team play?
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
would, like, we'd be like, where do the Jaguars play? And he'd be like, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
With straight face. And he
Wow.
would think he was right.
Yeah.
You've learned a lot.
He's
Yeah.
very confident about that. I still like. Let's not give him too much credit because last week he legitimately had no idea who the Buffalo Bills were.
Yes,
and they're a
I
team that we've
did.
talked about a lot. on
I
this one.
thought you meant the Chicago Bulls.
Hey, well, where do the Raiders play?
What the heck?
Where do the Raiders play?
Las Vegas.
Wow. Okay. No, I think
Holy
Joe.
I know
like,
almost
that's no doubt.
everything.
Dude,
All
Joe
right,
is
okay,
he's improved.
Let me give him a hard one here.
Okay.
I gotta find a hard one. Okay.
Normally we go to baseball teams when we want to
Yeah.
like give him a real hard
No,
one.
I feel like if I can find a football one that he won't be able to figure out. Maybe not. Okay. Where do this is probably great podcast content, just people playing this game. But
I love it honestly.
where do the Vikings play?
Minnesota.
Wow.
Okay.
The Lions.
Detroit.
Wow, incredible.
The Seahawks.
Seattle.
That
My
was too easy
goodness.
for
All right,
him.
the Panthers.
Florida.
Oh.
No, wait, hold on, Carolina. Sorry.
Oh, and
No.
he
It's the
redeemed
Florida
himself.
Panthers
There
is
is
the
a-
hockey team.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
dude.
right.
Incredible.
The Bengals.
Cincinnati.
Oh my
What?
gosh. Okay, let's go to baseball.
Could you
Hang
do
on.
every one of them?
I could do every one of them.
That's crazy.
I
Just-
could.
I didn't know you could do this. I'm
Yes.
actually impressed.
Okay.
When I hear them on loop constantly when I'm
Yeah.
editing the podcast, it becomes a little easy.
Oh yeah.
It's just memory though.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Can I try a baseball one?
Yeah, sure, I guess, but that's just stupid because I don't do a baseball podcast.
I
Yeah, but
feel like
it's-
I could so easily get a baseball one.
Oh, it'd be so easy. Okay, the Reds.
Yeah, it's over.
The Reds?
The Reds.
That's
That's their
over.
name. The Reds.
Okay, well, that's dumb. I know. Of course I would have zero clue. First of all,
they
I'm not
play
a,
in the same city as the team that you've already said before,
which team was it?
The Bengals.
the Bengals.
Cincinnati
So
Reds.
that's-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cincinnati. What a stupid name for a baseball team,
Yeah.
though.
Here's
Reds.
one that you'll never get: the Mariners.
Orlando?
Close, but Seattle.
It's okay,
They're on
yeah,
the
I
other
know.
coast.
The
I know.
exact other
Yeah.
side of the country, like
Yeah.
entirely the other side.
You were in the right country.
Yeah.
Well, was I?
Yeah, you were.
At least
Jerk.
you didn't say Toronto, so.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're doing CFL though, just
Oh,
CFL.
you want to do CFL?
We actually have done
No.
CFL, and I gave him a fake team, and he had to guess which one was a fake team.
and I got it
You didn't
right.
get it right.
I
Okay.
got it
You
wrong.
didn't get it
Okay,
right.
listen. The Red Blacks.
Boston.
No.
He just gets Boston.
Boston-
Canadian
the Boston
football
Redbacks.
team. You said they're the,
What's
it's the
that?
Canadian football league.
Yeah, I know the Saskatchewatoonies or something. Like
No,
I don't know.
man. No, man. That's the Ottawa Red Blacks. Also, this one
Oh.
right here. I got a trick one for you.
Okay.
Okay. The Elks. I bet you Joe doesn't even know this
Oh,
one.
I know this one 100%.
Oh,
Joel,
dang,
come
never
on. I'm a
mind.
big CFL fan.
Edmonton Elks.
Yeah, man.
Wow, good one.
Killer. What
They just changed their name. What was their original name?
Oof.
Probably something racist.
Make sure
Yes,
make sure you
100%.
bleep it out.
Eskimos.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was.
You have
Good
to
job.
bleep that out.
I'm not.
It's offensive.
I can't believe you said that.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is so.
That was
offensive.
actually a trap.
Is it that offensive?
You're under arrest.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I heard it said recently. I thought on the news.
I don't know if it's one of those ones you can't say, but it's one of those ones you shouldn't say.
Oh,
And
like kind of like
Don't even.
Dude, that's a slippery slope.
Okay.
You just gotta be careful with that.
No,
Even if you do the fake bleep thing, I think we could still get canceled.
I'll bleep it out.
Yeah, I know. I
Anyways.
think it's still a bad idea.
Wait,
Okay.
you guys have a fake bleep thing?
No, they're all
What do you
real.
mean?
Like you have like the beep when you hit
we
the
have
button?
we have a censor beep.
Yeah, we have a beep.
Cuss word beep.
Shows how much you listen to the podcast.
So if I just swear right now, you'll just beep it out.
Yeah, unless I miss it accidentally.
So I'll just be like, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
you're just
yeah.
gonna bleep that
I
out.
could be like,
Of Oh, of course.
yeah.
Oh, dude, I
Yeah.
love this game.
No.
So hang on.
I don't want to play.
So
It's just so
good.
much editing for
Yeah,
me.
no, that's really good.
How much
actually.
work is it to edit in like
Well,
a bleep?
The only thing is, I can edit it in the bleep, but I have to delete your audio. But then sometimes when there's 3 of us, it'll leak into this mic, so you'll kind of hear it faintly in the back of my voice.
Basically, Joe's telling us he doesn't really know how to edit.
That's
I
so
do.
good.
But the thing is, it wouldn't be in the background. But last time when we did the thing where you were saying my address, I was talking while you were saying it, so it's not like I can just edit. It's not like I can just edit out my audio because I'm talking during
Yeah,
it.
I gave away his address on like 2 episodes ago, and he had to
No.
bleep out the whole thing.
Yeah, and my
Uh,
kid's last name as well.
Well, I say your last name on every episode.
Yeah,
Just-
you did.
I think
Keep that out of your
they
mouth.
could infer your last name is.
No, just
Your kid's last name is.
keep it. No,
He
absolutely.
He just made a note. He's
Yeah,
gonna
no,
edit
he's
that
gonna
out.
bleep
This is
that
going to
out.
be an absolute monster,
Yeah.
This is going to be the worst thing to edit
disaster.
ever.
It's gonna be a 2-hour episode.
I
A
know.
2-hour episode, and I'm only gonna be here for 20
Yeah,
minutes. so
it's
it's
gonna be
gonna
all bleeps.
Absolutely unbelievable.
just gonna be a mess.
Anyways, should we get to football stuff? Or
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Joe, you have anything else you
whatever.
want to say to Joel?
Yeah. Why doesn't Hawaii have a football team? They should be
Uh,
called the Hawaii Island Boys.
Island Boys. There you go.
Oh, I don't want that. I
Yeah.
don't want that.
It's not a
Uh,
great joke. Not one of your best jokes.
No, I know.
probably.
Yeah, just
Joe.
when I do a bad joke, just keep going.
All right,
Don't
Joe.
don't talk about it.
Don't
Actually,
talk about how bad my joke
I was hoping that I would say that and you kind of just keep going and not like
Yeah,
you'd
no,
kinda
but I
mull
just
it
felt
over.
like I needed to address it.
Can
Like I
you-
kind of gave you a laugh, but I felt like when I gave you that laugh, it was kind of courtesy.
It
I
looked
I
bad.
shouldn't have done
Your
it
eyes were not
courtesy.
laughing. Your mouth was like, ha, but your eyes were dead, like
I was
so dead.
daggers. I was
Yeah.
giving you daggers while I
Ooh,
was laughing.
dude.
Yeah.
What's your
It was
best
bad.
joke, Joe? Do you have
My
a
best joke?
Yeah.
Oh, I have a really good joke actually. I mean to talk to you guys about this.
Okay.
I'm just gonna strip down a little bit.
I don't know
Like
what's going
he's
on.
just taking
So
off
yeah,
his clothes.
Joe's standing up. He now took his sweater off.
He took
is
his
the joke,
average.
is the joke
it's,
your body?
it's an average joke. Oh, okay.
Okay, he left. Yeah, I offended him.
I
That's
personally
fair.
find Joe very sexy.
No, he's got a very sexy bod. He's got a good bod. I
I
tell
haven't
him
been
that all
working
the
for
time.
3 weeks. I've been getting free meals. I haven't worked out once. So
Probably all starch.
Yeah.
All starch and gluten. And
yeah, exactly.
Just-
Okay, I got a good joke.
What's
Okay.
the joke?
So there's this guy. Okay.
Okay.
Let's give him a name. His name is Jim.
Dwayne. How about
Jim. His name is Jim.
Can we do Dwayne? Oh.
Let's do Dwayne. Okay.
All right.
The little kid. His name is Dwayne. He
I thought he was a guy.
yeah, he's a guy. Well, this starts off as a kid.
Okay.
All right.
It's a bit
How
of a
old,
lengthy
like,
joke.
how old?
So just stop.
Like 7 or
Okay.
8.
So just
or-
stop,
Like,
and
are
then
we
I'm
going
gonna actually just say my joke.
okay.
Okay. So on his when he's 5 years old, his grandma, he loves his grandma. She gets him a little toy tractor for Christmas.
Okay.
We're just gonna have a fire drill quickly.
I don't know if we're gonna keep this in the podcast. but the
Please,
fire-
I love
the-
I love the silence of Joe just
If
I feel like I wish this was on like video because Joe just looked
Oh
so
my God.
upset for a
Producer
bit there.
Joe. Let's make
Yeah,
that clear.
producer Joe just while telling his joke so
I've
mad
never seen that look on his eyes.
about I don't think I've ever seen him that mad.
That was a homicidal look. Are we
Is
gonna
it
keep
getting
this in?
louder?
I think it is getting louder. My wife is cooking. I think everything's okay. She's laughing. So I think we were quiet because we weren't sure if we were gonna keep it in the podcast.
No, I
yeah,
just
but now we
love-
have to.
Now
'cause we
have
talk
to
so much.
because we
Oh,
talked
man,
about it.
no.
It's still happening. It's still going on.
Joe's silence there just spoke volumes.
Why don't we take a quick break?
Yeah.
And we'll be back shortly when the house isn't on fire anymore.
Yeah. And we're back. Joel, get off your phone.
And we're back.
Get off your phone when
Joel
you're
just-
on our podcast.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
texting my
rude.
wife who's
rude.
in Bolivia.
Get off
Okay.
your phone. Jim, sorry. His
Dwayne.
name
Jim,
is
the
Dwayne
8-year-old
Johnson.
boy. Oh, Dwayne.
Or
Yeah.
sorry, Dwayne.
Dwayne.
He's on his
Can
5th
we call
birthday.
him D Wade?
I know
Like
I said it was
Dwayne
Christmas.
Yeah. Can we call him the Rock?
Okay,
actually?
I
The
said it
Rock.
was I said it was Christmas, but it's actually on his birthday.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
On his 5th birthday, his grandma gets him this little toy train or
Mhm.
tractor. Sorry, it's not a train; it was a tractor.
Okay, that's
And
important. Tractor?
That's
Yeah.
Okay,
The
hang on.
tractor.
Can we just restart this whole joke? Because you just messed up the whole thing.
Okay.
Number one, he's not a man. He's a boy. It's not Christmas. It's his birthday. And it wasn't a tractor. It's a train.
Yeah, man, you got to get your facts
No, it's a
straight.
tractor.
It is a tractor.
Okay, let's start from the top, Joe.
Little Dwayne.
Okay.
This story starts. He's 5 years old
Mm-hmm.
on his 5th birthday. Okay,
Okay.
his
I
grandmother
asked about his age before. and you
buys
wouldn't
him
tell me.
a toy tractor.
Okay,
I'm not going to say my joke.
Okay, I told you. No,
Okay,
just
no,
say it.
just
Okay,
keep
going.
okay. We're
Keep
sorry. We're
going.
sorry, Joe. Just say your joke.
On his 5th birthday, his grandma buys him a toy tractor. This tractor means the world to him. He loves his grandma, and now he loves tractors as well. So he basically from then on, every birthday, his grandma buys him a new toy tractor. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually he grows up, he gets old, and he's every year, and I'm saying every single year, his teenage years through his adult years, his grandma buys him a toy tractor every year
No.
until this one day, his grandma passes away, and there's no more tractors. Okay, so at this point, he's already starting his own family. He's got a wife and a kid, and basically, he
It's a long joke.
well, just keep up.
I'm
Just
sucked in.
he has a wife and a kid. Okay, he names his son his son's middle name after his grandma. Okay,
Okay.
so it's a bit weird, but he loves his grandma, so he does it.
yeah.
And then he one day so at this point in his life, he's the biggest tractor fan ever. He's got so many tractor toys. He drives tractors, like he has actual tractors.
Yeah.
Posters, clocks, everything tractors he has. And then he one day he's working on the field, and there's this freak accident. His wife and kid both get crushed by the tractors that he
What is
owns.
this joke?
Oh my
This is the
gosh.
saddest joke
Um,
of all time.
This guy, he just falls into a
You
deep
know I'm a farmer
a
with
deep-
tractors.
This
This
is
is
so
extremely,
sad.
and I have a wife and child.
a deep dark pit. He starts drinking too
Three
much.
deaths in this joke already. I just want to say
He
that. Three
starts
deaths.
drinking too much, and his life he hits rock bottom.
Yeah.
After about 3 years or so, he finally he gets into the swing of things again, and he wants to start dating again. So he's online dating, and he's on the apps anyway. He's on Tinder and
Yeah.
Christian Mingle and all the good ones.
Farmers only.
Plenty. Farmers only.
Yeah.
Farmers only.
Farmer. Fresh Pick Farmers. Anyways, so he has a date with this woman, beautiful woman. They go to a nice fancy restaurant. At some fancy restaurants they have they do this trick with liquid nitrogen, whatever. It's like all like foggy and
Oh yeah.
all that fog, whatever.
Yeah, I'm also rich. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways,
Long joke.
it's one of those restaurants,
I swear,
and
if she dies in this joke.
all of a sudden something goes wrong with the mechanism or the stuff they have like blowing this fog as smoke.
This person's dying.
All of a sudden,
guarantee it.
the whole room, the whole restaurant starts to fill with this smoke.
Yeah.
And then she starts freaking out. She's like, "What do we do? I don't know what to do." Like people are coughing, and all of a sudden he goes, "I know what to do." And he goes, he sucks in all of it. He sucks in all the smoke, one breath, and he goes outside and blows it all out. He extracts all the smoke from the entire restaurant. Goes back inside, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, that was amazing. How did you do that?" He's like, "Oh, I used to be a big Extractor fan."
Big fan. Yeesh.
That was your best joke.
All right, now Joel's gonna have some hot takes for the pod. Joel, we got you on for
I'm
this
actually
moment here.
Kind of
My first hot take is that
What's
that is the
that?
worst joke I've ever heard.
Tractor. The thing is near the end of that joke, I started to feel inside me. I was getting excited. I was getting excited because I felt the payoff coming, and I was like, dude, this has to be a good joke because of how much he hyped it up. And okay, I don't know.
My wife didn't get it either, and I'm
No,
so
I get it.
Oh, I get it.
get
We
it.
get it.
So
It's
pissed
just
off.
awful.
Don't turn that on us and say we don't get it.
I honestly, when you were about 3/4 of the way through, I was like, Joe is making this up as he goes.
I had
like
that thought
I
as
was
well.
like, he has not planned this.
Yep.
And
I
also,
didn't.
why did you think it was Train for a bit? What were you gonna do with Train?
Trains, tractors. I don't know.
An
It was just-
trainer.
Yeah.
Big X Trainer fan.
Yeah. I don't know.
I hope
man.
somebody listening got
Did
like
you
just
come
at
up
least
with
got a
it?
little
We
bit
got
of a
the
laugh.
joke. It wasn't that we.
But I mean
didn't
that they
get
got
it.
a laugh at least.
Okay.
I didn't get
I-
any laughs.
I would bet almost my house that nobody laughed at that unless they were like,
I feel
Come
like
on.
the
Wow.
fire alarm going off was actually it should have been a sign.
it was a sign that we
Should've
should
been
have
a sign.
stopped.
Do you think that
at
was
point.
funnier than my joke?
I think so.
I think more people will laugh at the fire alarm going off
Yeah.
than your joke.
I think more
So
people
let's get
would
on
wanna
with these
listen
hot
to the
takes,
fi-
anyways. You got some hot takes, Joel?
Yeah, speaking. Oh, how perfect is that? Fire alarm went off. Joel's in the building
Hot takes.
for the hot takes. That's how hot these takes are.
These
Is that
takes
Joel is
are
in the
hot.
building?
I'm gonna leave now.
My fire alarm went off. No, you're not gonna leave. You're
I'm just
sitting-
kidding.
You're sitting right here.
I'm just
You're
kidding.
saying
You're
right
gonna
here.
give us input. But Joel, before we get into hot takes, I do
All right.
want to talk a little bit about Week 9 of the NFL season, and what was one of the spiciest weeks of the NFL season. Joel, just real simply, what the heck happened this week in the NFL?
I would love to tell you what the heck happened, but it is so clear to me that I don't know a single thing about anything. I don't know anything about anything. Like I told you I do a little bit of I dabble in some sports betting. I made a parlay. I thought it was for sure, like can't miss, and every single leg lost except for one. I think I had the Cardinals on it or
And
something.
you bet on favorites too.
I
right?
bet
You-
all favorites
all
except for the Cardinals, and the Cardinals won and everyone else lost. I was gonna bet on the Falcons, and then I was like, nah, that's a bad bet. I feel like I'm just gonna lose money there. And then they won.
Oh, whoops.
And then I was I was also gonna bet on the Giants, and I was like, no, that's a bad bet, and I didn't, and they won. So I don't know anything. That's what Week 9 taught me.
I think that's a very fair assumption. I've been saying that for kind of weeks now. Mike and I have been saying we have no idea what to expect. And for a while there, it was only like one or two teams. It was like the Vikings. You just had no idea what the heck they were week in and week out.
The Vikings will always lose by one score.
Yes, absolutely. They will always lose by one.
However, they can just break everyone's hearts. That's what the Vikings will do.
It's just they're a team that they're going to be competitive every single week, and they're going to beat the bad teams, and then they're
Yeah.
going to give the good teams everything they have, everything they can
Yeah.
possibly give, but they will not win.
They
That's
won't
the
win.
Minnesota
Like,
Vikings.
I feel like if you're one of those good teams, you can find a lot of solace in the fact, like, you're, like, really in it. You're in a war, fighting so hard to win. Like, I feel like I would just be like, yeah, but we are
Yeah.
for sure going to win this game.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an above 500 team
Yeah.
playing the Vikings in a close game, you are going to win.
Yeah. They're going to mess it up at some point.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the Vikings. I think there's many teams like that, like the Falcons. Although they didn't blow a lead this week, but they're a
Yeah.
team like, it's like if they got a lead, it's like we're in good shape. We're doing all right. But I feel like the Seahawks were kind of like that, like through the first few weeks. Like, what the heck? What even is this team? One week they're really good, one week they're bad.
Yeah.
And the Titans early on felt like they were like that. They were like they lose to the
Yeah.
Jets.
Oh, the Titans. I'm not over that loss to
Yep.
the Jets. I'm still so upset. I know, like, now they're all of a sudden the best team in the AFC,
Yeah.
which I don't know
Number
how
one
that
seed.
like literally who you can't for sure say anyone in the AFC would beat them. Like, the Bills just lost to the Jaguars. The Chiefs are garbage, and who else is in the AFC?
Well, you said the Bills.
The Chargers are like kind of inconsistent.
Chargers could be the AFC is a complete muddle. Like it's
Yeah.
a mess.
But one thing we
Yeah.
know is the Titans will win all the stupid games that they shouldn't win.
Yeah. Well, let's look at, like, we're talking about the Jets game.
Mhm.
Since the Jets game, the Titans have beat the Jaguars, so that's not an impressive win. But then
Yeah.
they beat the Bills and the Chiefs back to back, and then they beat the Colts. The Colts are a frisky team, and then they beat the Rams this past
Yeah.
Sunday.
Like, what is
I
that?
mean,
Yeah.
what? What are you?
Yeah.
Joey.
Sorry, Joe. We were just talking, and Joe is just. We told him to kind of engage,
and he's not saying anything. He's just
he's just laughing
and laughing along.
You told me to pitch
Do
in.
you have anything you want to say?
Did you guys see that 8 people died at that Travis Scott
Yeah,
festival?
we're not- no,
okay,
no.
I'm not talking
Joe,
about
that's enough
that.
deaths
That's
we've
sad.
talked about. in this pod.
Unbelievable.
Okay, we're gonna move on. about that. Yeah, we don't.
It is unbelievable. And, like, it wasn't even like a shooter or anything.
No,
I
they
know.
just
Just-
got trampled.
They squished each other.
That's insane. That's crazy. That's
And
crazy.
nuts.
But speaking of insane, yeah, the Titans are, they're still the number 1 seed. And then you go to, like, the NFC, and I feel like there's some teams that are kind of at the top of the NFC where we can be like, okay, these teams. I feel like the Buccaneers and the Rams, although the Rams freaking lost yesterday.
They lost to Tennessee
They
with no Derrick Henry.
With no Derrick Henry.
I don't understand it.
It's just, but it feels like the Rams before this week especially felt like the Rams and the Bucs were kind of above everybody else, and then we had the Packers kind of in that tier, sort of, and then everybody else was kind of like, who knows what's going on here in the NFC?
Yeah.
But now, this week, it's like, who knows with anything? Like, who do you think? I don't know. Who do you think is legit? Well, first in the AFC, who do you think is like a legit Super Bowl contender?
A legit Super Bowl. Okay, I gotta pull up standings here. A legit Super Bowl contender in the AFC. Hang on, I'll carry you while you cough over there.
Thank you.
Well, the Bill. I like last week. I would have said the Bills.
Yep.
Now I don't think they are. I think Cleveland showed something this week, but I don't think they are it. They might be without OBJ. Like, they're so much better without Odell, and now Odell's gone.
Yeah.
They might be, but I gotta see some more. I hope that they are. I love the Browns.
What about the Ravens?
The Ravens are who I was saving. I scrolled past them. But the Chargers, no. The Chargers almost lost to the Eagles this week.
Yeah.
And, like, the Eagles are super mediocre, bordering on bad, so...
There's a couple teams in the AFC that looked hot, like a couple
yeah,
of weeks
like
ago.
the Chargers. I love the Chargers, and
the Bengals.
The Bengals were looking hot, but who did the Ravens lose to? They lost to.
Not this week. They beat the Vikings.
Yeah, they beat the Vikings, but who have
they lost? They lost to the Bengals a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so that's confusing.
Yeah, I know. It's just why it's a complete mess.
I think of anyone, probably Baltimore should be top seed or should be like top of your list for Super Bowl contenders. The Bills passing game, I'm not hot on right now. Their offense doesn't look good. Their defense looks great, but their offense looks so bad that I don't know if they will be able to overcome that. Same problem with the Chiefs, except for the Chiefs are bad everywhere. But who knows? Maybe the Bills can turn it around. If Josh Allen can get it going at least a little bit, they will be incredible with that defense.
Yeah.
But
if they had last year's offense and this year's defense, they would be the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, they would beat anybody in like the last 10 years in the NFL.
100%. They would probably be undefeated. They would be a dominant team. They just haven't been able to get in sync. And I think offensively they show like flashes of being what they were last year.
Yeah.
But I think them and the Chiefs to me have the same problem where they're an offense that's built on big plays, like explosive plays down the field. And a lot of people are talking about the cover 2 and how that defense is kind of destroying that. I don't really even think that it's cover 2. Like obviously defensive coordinators have known that you can play cover 2. You can have 2 safeties back. You can there's no way they just all of a sudden figure out, hey, what if we just cover more people? Duh. I think the thing is that when your offense relies on big plays like that, there's going to be times where you're not hitting those big plays. And you have to find something else. And I think that's what's happening to the Chiefs and the Bills kind of at the same time, is those big plays aren't happening as often. And I don't want to say they're lucky teams, but they're not getting that luck that they got last year.
Yeah, and like I think something has changed for sure. But another thing is those offenses, the Chiefs and the Bills, were so kind of like revolutionary. Like, look how often they're passing the ball, and it's so incredible, like all this stuff. But I think the defense evolved and the offenses stayed stagnant. You know what I mean? Like, Andy Reid doesn't change what he does. Like, he does the same things all the time. And I think the Bills also thought, we're going to waltz in here. Yeah. We're going to score 40 points a game, and it's going to be freaking great. And our defense is so much better. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And they would have been right, but the defenses have evolved, and they've kind of come up to meet what the offenses are bringing right now. And the offenses are going to have to take a step. They're going to have to – they need – like, it's always a chess game, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like last year the offenses, they had their queen right in on the king. Yeah. And it was looking like they were going to win.
Yeah, buddy.
And
shoot.
And you know what? This year the defenses, they pulled a castle move, baby. Boom.
Yeah.
Popped it over.
Switched it over. They switched over the king and the knight, and they
did it.
Pop.
Yeah. And the defenses are good now.
Yeah.
And I think the offenses, they're going to need to get some, maybe some knights involved in there,
Yeah.
They got to get in there. They got to get after that king.
Yeah, they got to use pawn play as well.
Pawn play.
Those little guys, they are very important.
That's genuinely a good point. I think that,
why do you say genuinely? Do I not
well,
normally
you
bring
guys,
good points?
It sounded like babbling from you two, but I think there's a good point in there.
Joe, sorry. The reason is Joe doesn't know how to play chess.
We're not, I understand that.
He's not like
the basics.
Have you watched
chess.
Queen's Gambit?
He doesn't
I haven't
haven't
watched Queen's Gambit.
He's not very
watched it?
intelligent.
I haven't watched Queen's Gambit.
You gotta watch Queen's Gambit.
But what I was gonna say is the offenses like the Bills and the Chiefs. I think that they're so explosive and they're built on those explosive plays. But I think it'll be interesting to see in the coming weeks how do they. I think they'll have to. They need to make an adjustment, and I think that's what they've been struggling with the last few weeks, especially the Chiefs. I think the Bills, maybe not as much at this point. They had kind of one bad week, but the Chiefs, how can you adjust when you can't hit those big plays? And they haven't been able to adjust. They haven't been able to hit the simple things. And I think me and Mike have talked about multiple times on the podcast. Patrick Mahomes is just trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
Take what's there. And I think people are starting to realize there's not that much talent on the Chiefs offense other than the big three. Obviously, you have Travis Kelce, who's kind of been struggling this year. You have Tyreek Hill. Who's the third? Who's like the third or fourth guy that's going to step up there?
Yeah, you don't have another option.
Nicole Hardman can't play. He has never done anything and is worth anything in his career.
Who they need is a little bit of
Deshaun Watson.
Odell action.
Thanks, Joe. Odell Beckham is what he was going to. Yeah, I would personally love that. I really feel like the Chiefs need another receiver in the worst way. And I would have loved if they would have signed Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason. There was a chance. There was rumors that he might have signed there, but then he decided to go back to the Steelers. I don't think Juju is all that great, but I think just having another option there, I think, would be so different. Because Josh Gordon's obviously not it.
No, he's not it. And apparently, the rumors are that OBJ is not going to be claimed on waivers. People don't want to take his salary when they know they could possibly sign him, for cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe it is the Chiefs. It could be, or maybe it's someone else. It's going to be really interesting to see where he goes and whether or not he can actually revive his career, because he has looked so bad on the Browns, and I am struggling not to really dislike him because I'm a big Browns lover, as you know.
I'm a big OBJ lover. Honestly, I do like the Browns, but I really feel like Odell Beckham is not as washed as people think he is. I think he's gotten open at times. I think him and Baker just never had that connection.
They never had it, no.
They just never had it. It's just time to move on, and I don't love the attitude of Odell Beckham. I don't love him coming out and saying that he doesn't want to play for a non-contender. It's like beggars can't be choosers, buddy.
Yeah.
You'll play.
Go back
also,
to the Browns.
I feel for him too, because when we played that football tournament the other day, I was open so many times and you never passed to me.
So
we got a little Baker OBJ action up in here.
I was open almost every time.
Joe's gonna get his dad to post on social media
all the time
videos of Joe being open and me not throwing him the ball.
Oh, that'd be hilarious, dude. I'd pay to see that.
Okay.
Anyways, why don't we get into these hot takes?
All right, hot takes.
You have hot takes.
You haven't even gotten into them yet?
No, we haven't even gotten
No.
into the hot takes.
Remember,
this is going to be a long episode.
My last hot takes were Carson Wentz would go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey.
And that was real bad.
Yeah, you had some fire hot takes. I'm excited to see what
All
are
right.
these long-term hot takes? Are these in-season hot takes?
They're mix and mash.
All
They're a
right.
mix and mash. So my first
They're
one.
gonna be quick round, quick.
Joe,
Yeah, they're quick.
Can we
They're
get
quick.
a fire sound effect when he does these?
The first one you're not gonna like. Cowboys are the 6th best team in the NFC.
Whoa!
No higher, maybe lower.
Whoa! No higher. There's no chance they're higher.
No higher.
And this is something you really believe.
It's something I truly believe.
Okay, then name the 5 teams that are better than the Cowboys.
Well, let me pull up the standings.
Very good.
Hang on. All right, Joe, I know we said they'd be quick, but okay. So you got the Cardinals.
Wait,
You
we
got-
can do a little intermission or what?
Why is that?
Cause I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island
good, Joel?
boy.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, he's good.
All right, I didn't want to listen to that, but
All right.
okay. You got the Arizona Cardinals, who are better.
Okay.
The Green Bay Packers, who are better. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are better. The LA Rams, who are better. And get this, All right.
If you say the Eagles, I swear to goodness.
Oh, I wish I could. If I could, if they had beaten the Chargers yesterday, we might be having that conversation.
Gosh, I would kick you off the podcast.
The New Orleans Saints
Whoa.
are better than
You do know they just got beat by the Falcons, right?
I do. But listen, I believe in Sean Payton. I think they're going to be better.
They have a good defense. I would argue, okay, let me give you an argument. I would argue the Saints are not better. I think that without a quarterback, you're just not better. I would also, and this is maybe this is my hot take. I would say that the Cowboys are better than the Cardinals.
All right. Well, I would
the
say that
Arizona
you're wrong. So
I think the Cowboys, they had a bad week. I think they're going to bounce back. I think the Cowboys are a top 3 seed in the NFL.
I see the Dallas Cowboys entirely, and 100. Like, this is with my true heart. I think they are one of the more talented teams in the NFC or in the NFL. But they have like Toronto Maple Leaf syndrome, where they will forever underperform, and everyone will always ask, why does this keep happening? You know, like, they have so much talent. Why are they not good? And it just happens to be that they can't pull it together.
That's fair.
And maybe that's my Leafs pain. It's
not like,
shining through. It could be.
Not mathematical analysis, but it works.
It's not, but I feel like this week was like kind of the start of the fall. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's hot. That's a hot take. All right, give me your next hot take. Give me your next hot. How many do you have, by the way?
4. I got 4.
Okay, all right.
Okay. My next one is the Saints will be fine without Jameis.
Wow, like how fine are we talking? I guess you just had them in the playoffs.
I think they're going to be yeah, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're for sure going to be in the playoffs.
Think they're going to win a playoff game without Jameis?
No. I don't think they will.
Who do you think should be their long-term starter, Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill?
Probably Taysom Hill. I think for this season, you paid him $140 million. What are you doing not playing him? Trevor Siemian just lost to the Falcons, and I think Taysom Hill is kind of at the basis of me thinking that they'll be better than the Cowboys and that they'll be fine without Jameis. He's kind of crucial to both of those. I just think Sean Payton's going to scheme something special up. Like, obviously he had something in mind when they paid him $140 million, and I think we're finally going to see that come to fruition. I don't know why it hasn't come to fruition earlier, but I would love to see Taysom Hill take that step and like really assert himself here, because that guy can run. He is such a beefcake, and he's got an arm. Like,
the Sean Payton Taysom Hill thing is something that's frustrated me for years.
Yeah.
Why are you paying him to do nothing?
Why do you have Jameis there? Yeah. Like, and that's also at the basis of they'll be fine without Jameis, because I just don't think Jameis is that good, really.
Okay.
I think he's been holding him back so far. So we'll see. I've never been a Saints guy. I've never liked the Saints, but here I am. You asked me for hot takes. Now I'm in the Saints camp.
I think their defense is really good. I think that could be it. And I think Sean Payton's probably one of the best offensive play callers in the NFL. But I agree. I don't know. I think they'll be fine. A lot of people are putting them in the playoffs at this point, and maybe they will make the playoffs. But
I think they will, because I don't think the Panthers are going anywhere. The Vikings will forever continue to lose close games. The Seahawks, I think, are in bigger trouble than we think. The 49ers are just not good.
No.
The Bears obviously aren't good. My Eagles, I won't say anything because I'm way too high on them. But yeah, I think they're at 5-3. I honestly think they're pretty solidified. They're 2 games up.
They do have a better record than you think. They have a 5-3 record. Like, they're okay. I also wish they would just put Taysom out there.
Yeah. And I think we'll see it this week.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Trevor Siemian played all right, but like, what are we paying that guy? Like he gets like an unbelievable amount of money for nothing, and he's been hyped up for years. And like, let's just let him do it. Just let him play.
Let him go.
What's the point of him being there? He doesn't even do like the special little things that he used to do. Like, let's just let him be the quarterback. And let's do it. But okay, that was your second hot take. Give me your third hot take.
Third one. This is the only Eagles one. Only Eagles related one.
All right.
Russell Wilson will be a Philadelphia Eagle next year.
All right.
He will be an Eagle.
Okay.
We will see Jalen Hurts ride off into the sunset. Maybe they'll trade a 5th for him or something. and we will see Russell Wilson, and we will see the Eagles just take flight, baby. We will see. It's going to be like Matthew Stafford going to the Rams. It's just going to be incredible.
So you think Russell Wilson's out in Seattle after this?
I think so. And I think Russell Wilson, Devontae Smith are just going to have a Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp-esque connection.
Wow. This is a hot take. I like that. So the Eagles don't go after Deshaun Watson.
He doesn't even want to go to Philadelphia. So
they do have the draft capital to do it. They have potentially 3 first-round picks. And they could all be in like the top 15.
Yeah, I think at this point, they probably will. The 2 will be for sure. It's just whether or not the Colts get their stuff together. But if they don't, they'll have 3 first. Slap all those on the table, give them up for Russell, and you literally take over the NFC because the NFC is so bad, and you could probably be the 3rd best team in the NFC after the Bucs and the Rams, with Russell Wilson on your team.
Russell, all right. I love that. I've actually had some hot takes I've been saving up for Russell Wilson. My hot take was that Russell Wilson would be on the Giants in 2022.
I hate that for me.
Listen, man, Russell Wilson he plays for the Yankees, so he's on their minor league system.
I don't like that for me at all.
For you, yeah.
I don't want to see Russell Wilson in the NFC East and not be an Eagle. That's my nightmare.
That's a fair nightmare. Yeah. I am curious to see if this is his last year. It really does feel like it's getting close to that point.
Yeah.
But I think that would be very interesting to see Russell Wilson in midnight green or whatever they call that green color now.
Just the best looking green ever.
Okay.
All right, my last one.
Last one.
This one is very short term. Hopefully you guys hear this. Well, actually you will know the result of this before it's out.
I love it.
So when you guys hear this, you'll know. The Bears will beat the Steelers today.
Whoa!
That is my hot take. I got
without Mitch Trubisky. Not without Mitch Trubisky. They won't.
Joe.
Nope.
There you go, Joe. You chimed in, man.
Thank you.
I have no faith in Ben Roethlisberger. I think he's just so bad. And honestly, I watch every football game, and this one's gonna be so hard to watch. But the one person who's gonna suck me in is Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields had a great. A good step last week.
100%.
And I think he takes another one here today. If the Bears coaching staff can get out of their way, I think they'll win this game 14-12 or something like that.
Just a very ugly game.
Yeah. I think the Bears defense is actually pretty good as well.
The Bears defense is good. The thing that scares me is the Steelers defense against a rookie quarterback. That's the thing that scares me, and
that's why I think 14-12 or something of that ilk.
Yeah, that I like that because I like Justin Fields. I've talked about Justin Fields for months. Before the draft, he was my guy. He was the guy I loved in the draft process, and I think that he is the best. I don't know, not the best quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is probably still the best rookie quarterback in my opinion, just talent wise, but. I like Justin Fields, but I am very worried about he's looked really bad against some defenses. Him against the Browns was a disaster.
Yeah, but I think he's figuring it out, and now it's his 4th game?
I think probably around that 4 or 5.
So I mean, you throw anyone Peyton Manning sucked at first, which I know has been used a lot. But Trevor Lawrence has been getting better as he goes, and all these rookie quarterbacks are going to get better as they go. And I think Justin Fields is a part of that as well. So I think we see a better Justin Fields against a good defense. I don't know if we see a good Justin Fields, but I think it will be enough to win, in my opinion.
All right. Matt Nagy's back this week. He was off with COVID. I think he maybe should have just stayed home.
He should have stayed home. They should have just fired him right there.
It's been hey, man, just don't maybe come in. Just change his key code or whatever. Just change the password for the building on him. Don't let him come back.
Yeah.
Because that was Justin Fields' best performance.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's your last hot take.
That's my hot takes.
Bears will beat the Steelers. I think I picked the Steelers, so you're going against my picks.
There you go.
From last week. Joel, what can I say? You came in after 4 years away, and you brought the heat. You really brought the heat.
We try to get hot up in here, all right? We want to get sweaty.
We did. So much so that the fire alarm even went off.
The fire alarm went off. Very good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. Make sure that you have a good evening, and make sure that you enjoy Justin Fields and the Bears beating the Steelers tonight.
Yeah, we'll try. I just bought Far Cry 6, so
Very good.
Might be in the background.
So make sure you guys hit him up on Far Cry 6. Joel, it's been great. Have yourself a good evening. See you 4 years from now.
Very good.
All right. Well, in what has been the craziest season in the NFL in a long time, I think this week 9, really takes the cake. One of the most chaotic weeks of NFL football that I've ever experienced personally. But Mike, what's your take on what was a wild week 9 in the NFL season?
Joe, I think our picks speak for themselves. I think we both only won like 5 of the 13 games that happened before tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched Josh Allen sack, intercept, and fumble recover Josh Allen. I mean, quite the game over there. We saw some teams that were supposed to get blow out the teams that were supposed to blow them out. So
Yep.
all in all, it was one of the most. I think this has to be one of the most weirdest weeks I've ever witnessed in the NFL.
Yeah,
just from top to bottom, it made no sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've literally. I feel like I'd say it every single week. It's a crazy week, and then I comment on the fact that I say it every week. But I promise you, it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And to me, this was just, I don't know how it can get crazier than this. We're gonna get into some of the games. We're gonna go a little light on the games today, just because we have another segment we want to do. We're gonna do our mid-season awards, as we've made it now. While you're listening to this, we've made it to the halfway point of the 2021 NFL season. So we're going to give away some awards halfway through the NFL season, and then we're going to get into our picks as well. But yeah, it has been a ridiculous week of football. Mike, I don't know where you want to start as far as talking about games, but why don't you start us off? Where do you want to start?
I mean, we gotta go with the last game I think that happened last night with the Titans and the Rams. I don't know about you, Joe, but I was sitting on the couch watching that game, expecting it to be probably 24-3 going into half in the Rams' favor. And my goodness, and Mike Vrabel coach his team to play some solid defense, and they just shut the Rams out in every aspect. It was pretty unbelievable to watch, honestly, Joe. I don't know. Do you have any things you want to lead off with?
Yeah, for me, it's such a weird game. Yesterday, last night, we're recording this on Monday. By the way, actually, before we get into it, I forgot to tell the audience, happy birthday, Mike. It's your birthday today. I totally forgot. I was going to bring that up at the top of the show. If you guys are listening to this, make sure you guys leave us a 5-star review and wish Mike a happy birthday. I mean, what a better birthday gift than giving him a 5-star review.
That 5-star review will just it'll make everything about today that much more special.
Exactly. And while you're listening to this, it's not his birthday. It's only his birthday today when we're recording. But if you're listening to this, you're late. You forgot to wish him a happy birthday. So make sure you guys do that. Mike, happy birthday. Sorry, I almost forgot to wish you a happy birthday.
It's fine.
I had a speech prepared, but we're running low on time, so I'll save it for next year.
Love it. I love it. I can't wait to hear it.
All right, fantastic. But back on to the Titans. And to me, the most this was one of the biggest surprises. And it's not even that the Titans played competitive. I thought it would be a competitive game. I was really excited to watch the game. And I will not lie, I did not watch the game live. I had to watch it the next morning. I went to bed a little early that night. But I woke up and I was like, okay, so the Titans won 28-16, so they must have had like a really dominant offensive performance or something. But you look at the statistics, and like Ryan Tannehill did basically nothing, and then Adrian Peterson scored a touchdown, did basically nothing, and they had nothing going offensively. The Rams actually outgained the Titans 347 yards to 194 yards. So you look at just the box score, you're like, what the heck? How did the Titans even beat the Rams? And to me, the biggest key was the Titans' defense, which was a defense that was completely terrible through the first few weeks of the season. They were one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and now all of a sudden they've completely turned it around, and they've looked really good against the Bills and the Chiefs, and now the Rams, some of the best teams in the NFL. And to me, the biggest plays of the game were Matthew Stafford avoiding a safety, pulling a Carson Wentz, doing the exact same thing that Carson Wentz did, a little spin around, throw the ball directly to the defender for an interception that set up a Tennessee Titans touchdown. And then on the very next drive, Matthew Stafford throws a pick six. And to me, those were the difference-making plays in this game. The Titans built a lead through those defensive plays that just was insurmountable for the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, no, that's you're absolutely right there, Joe. Watching this game, I would not have thought going into this game that we'd be talking about a defense other than the Rams.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to talk about Von Miller, who did not play. Surprised me, honestly. And, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. I thought we were going to be talking about the Rams for sure. But watching this game, seeing the Tennessee Titans just come out and play lights-out defense. Like you said, offense struggled, which I was a little bit surprised. I thought maybe they'd be able to get going and get the passing game going, but really didn't do much there. But their defense, oh my goodness, Joe, it was insane to see them shut down Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and that high-flying offense of the Rams, who just seem to get better and better each week. I will ask you this, though. Since we're, it's Overreaction Monday, does this make the Tennessee Titans now the best team in the NFL?
It seems like an overreaction, but like based on the teams that they've beat and their record, I mean, they're the team that it seems like every week they play a good team. Like, there's some teams, like, it seems like they play a cupcake every week. To me, the Titans feel like they're always playing a good team, and they're always playing competitive. They're always winning these games. I think it's time we start taking the Tennessee Titans seriously. I mean, if you haven't already, I think it's time to take them seriously. I don't know if I'm willing to say that they're the best team in the NFL, and maybe that's a mistake. Maybe next week they're going to have another blowout win, and I'll look like an idiot again. But to me, we absolutely need to take them seriously. That I know for a fact. We cannot sleep on them anymore. They have too many impressive wins. Mike Vrabel has really coached these guys up, and their defense has just been so impressive. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons in this game had 3 sacks. He was just so dominant, and to me, that's the biggest thing. Even without Derrick Henry, that was so impressive. We didn't even mention Derrick Henry's not even part of this team anymore. He's injured. I mean, he's not on the field. So to win this game against a team that many people probably thought was the best team in the NFL, you can make a case the Titans are the best team in the NFL after that win.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I saw a stat that they've had the most difficult season up to opponent-wise up to this point of the season. And now from here on out, they have the easiest season based off opponents because they got to play the Texans twice. They got the Saints up next week. And they got the Pats. They get a bye week. They got the Jags, Niners, Dolphins. I don't know if I said Dolphins, but Steelers. All of those games, the Titans, I mean, except for the Pats. I'm not saying the Pats are going to win, but I think that's going to be a dogfight in Foxborough. But all the other games, that they should be able to win those games and win them with ease. I mean, the Titans could be walking into the playoffs at this point as one of the top teams. And I honestly love it. I love the Titans. I'm a big Ryan Tannehill fan. I love Mike Vrabel. He used to be a Patriot, so I love him as a head coach. And that defense just looks amazing, so I think they're going to be fun to watch this year.
Yeah, if you're a Titans fan, I don't know how you can't feel really good about where your team is. And it's crazy the determination that they've had after like 2 huge losses, one to Arizona in week 1, and then they got embarrassed by the Jets. To be able to bounce back, and now, I mean, the Titans are in one of the best spots of any team in the NFL. You talked about their easy schedule. All of those games are winnable. Like, there's a chance they win the rest of the games this season. I mean, they probably won't because the NFL is hard and it's hard to win every week, but there's a realistic chance they could win out. And if they do that, they're the number 1 seed in the AFC.
That's a 13-game win streak if they win out. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. I've seen a lot of things this year in the NFL that surprised me, but that's something that I might be, I could believe that I would, see, like the Titans finishing on a 13-game win streak with the schedule they have left.
Eventually, we're not going to be surprised by the Titans doing dominant things. I mean, they've done it week in and week out, and eventually we just have to accept that they're one of the best teams in the NFL, and they might be a legitimate Super Bowl contender even without Derrick Henry. But that we'll finish with that game, and why don't we move on to the next game? And this is 2 teams that did not look very dominant in a game that, if you would have told me this game ended 7-13, before the season started, I would have laughed you out of the building because it was the Green Bay Packers facing off against the Kansas City Chiefs, two teams that were Super Bowl contenders last year, were projected to be Super Bowl contenders coming into this year, and most likely still have the ability to be that. They played in one of the most boring games you could possibly watch between these two teams, Mike. What was your takeaway from this slugfest between these two teams there in Kansas City?
Joe, I don't know if you watched the game, but I got to watch two quarterbacks sling it out all game long. I mean, throwing it deep, hitting and connecting with the receivers. And it was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know what, Joe? I think I might have pulled up the wrong game. Sorry, I think we're talking about the Packers and Chiefs because that was not what happened in that game at all. We got to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs struggle once again, like they have the past few weeks, basically all season. I mean, they looked good on their opening drive. I really thought the Chiefs had found their magic again on that first drive where Mahomes found Kelsey in the end zone. And from there on, it was like they were up 7-0, and they were like, okay, now we're gonna play conservative. We're gonna try to hold this lead 7-0. I mean, 7 points on the opening drive. And it's sad to say that Jordan Love, getting, I believe, his first career start in the NFL, outperformed Patrick Mahomes. You know, Mahomes went 20 for 37, a touchdown, 166 yards. He could have had a pick, but, you know, Kevin King dropped it. It was an easy interception. And then Jordan Love, 19 for 34, touchdown, a pick, 190 yards. Both of them threw for under 200 yards. So, yeah, the quarterbacks did not look good. Defenses, it's hard to say they look good because both teams struggled a lot. So, I was like, was it the defense or was it the offense, you know? And then if you're the Packers, the only reason you lost this game is because you could not score in the red area, nor could you get the ball through the uprights. It was either a missed field goal or it was a blocked field goal, a muff punt. Like, special teams was awful. So, yeah, this game, like, I mean, if you're a Packers fan, you have one thing to look forward to. You're most likely getting Aaron Rodgers back this upcoming weekend. So, you guys should be fine. If you're the Chiefs, on the other hand, you barely put up 13 points against a team that didn't even have a starting quarterback, which I know you're not, you know, putting 13 points up against the starting quarterback. But, once again, struggling to run the ball, even though they had 70 yards rushing. Struggling to throw the ball. Patrick Mahomes did not look good in the pocket. I don't know what's wrong with the Chiefs. Their 5-4 record in my opinion, they should be like 3-6 at this point. Like, they've struggled and barely won some of these close games.
Yeah, the Chiefs are very lucky that that Aaron Rodgers was not a part of this game. He was obviously out with COVID and not being vaccinated. He potentially could miss next week if he's not cleared, but hopefully he'll be back next week for the Green Bay Packers. But to me, you talked about Jordan Love and him making his debut, and I think statistically you can see that he, you know, outperformed Patrick Mahomes or whatever, and that's not a very high bar to clear at this point because Patrick Mahomes in that offense is struggling. I thought Jordan Love, he did not look ready to be the starter there in Green Bay, and you know, I think his stats honestly look better than he played. I thought they had a garbage time touchdown there to Allen Lazard. I think they were very lucky to score points, and Mason Crosby needs to make some dang field goals once in a while. But Jordan Love, he was very inaccurate in this game. He was either throwing way over receivers' heads or throwing the ball into the dirt, and you could tell just based on play calling for Matt LaFleur, they didn't trust him. They did not trust him to run the offense to its fullest extent. It was a ton of screen passes, ton of like easy stuff, and Jordan Love just still could not convert. To me, that makes that draft pick look so. I mean, right now, and again, let's not overreact to the first start of a guy's career. I don't want to bury him after one start, but that pick looks bad if Jordan Love does not impress because you traded up for a quarterback to replace one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and then you ticked him off, and now you don't. If Jordan Love's not the guy, you have nothing to replace Aaron Rodgers next season. So that is a little bit of a scary proposition there for the Green Bay Packers. But I was not overly impressed by Jordan Love, and definitely not impressed by the Chiefs. And I think them and the team that we're going to talk about next, they have very real struggles offensively, and it's two teams. That it's them and the Bills. I'll spoil it real quick, but them and the Bills, they are two teams that have relied on explosive plays, huge, chunk plays, and we've seen through 9 weeks now when those explosive plays are not there, when they can't make those explosive plays, their offense cannot cope. They cannot get anything done without the explosive plays. They need to, and I talked a little bit about this with Joel in the opening segment, but they need to find ways to win if you're not converting on those big plays. You need to take what's there. You need to, me and you have been talking. Patrick Mahomes is pressing too hard. He's trying too hard to do the special things when just take what's there. Take what the defense gives you. And I don't know if it's even fixable for the Chiefs at this point. I mean, I don't know, Mike. Do you think that it's something that they can fix, or do you think that this is just the season is just a write-off and this is just who the Chiefs are this season?
All right, I'm gonna put my Kansas City haterade to the side here. To be honest, it can be fixed. You look at a career like Tom Brady. I don't want to always compare to Tom Brady, but like you just said, take what the defense gives you. Brady's been doing it year in and year out, and it's because that's why he's flourishing. 5-yard dump offs, dumping it off to your running back. Now he's getting the chance to throw it deep. He's got some weapons. But Patrick Mahomes, I think, is trying too hard to be a superstar, trying too hard to be the hero on every play. And Patrick Mahomes needs to realize defenses are figuring that out. They're dropping safeties back. They're not blitzing on every single down. They're dropping more men into coverage. So what do? You attack them short. You throw slant passes, routes. You toss it to your running backs. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill are not going to be open down 30 yards down the field on every single play. You can't just be expecting them to run seam routes and connect on them every single play, which Mahomes missed a couple of easy touchdowns to Tyreek Hill. I was a little disappointed in that because I got Tyreek Hill back in fantasy, made a trade, got him back, and he put up 7 points. So, yeah. But, if you're Patrick Mahomes and you're Andy Reid, you get the team together and you start running, you get play calls together for more short, intermediate plays instead of these big hero plays. Get your running backs involved. I think that would honestly solve the offensive struggles because I know Jordan Love, first start, but the defense finally looked okay. I'm not going to say they looked good or great, but they looked okay. They were able to get key stops, get the defense off the field. So the defense looked all right, but again, the offense just could not sustain any drives. They had more 3-and-outs in this game than I think they had all season long, which is just ridiculous. And start focusing on shorter intermediate plays and stop trying to be the hero on every single down.
Yeah, and you got to wonder. This is another thing I briefly brought up in the intro segment is. Can the Chiefs maybe potentially bring in an Odell Beckham? Do they need to have another guy there? Because after Travis Kelce's actually struggled a little bit this season. He had did he have a fumble? I don't know. He had a fumble a couple of weeks ago.
He had a drop on a key third down.
A key drop in this game. That's what that was. And he's had a couple of those this season. And Tyreek Hill, he's still been amazing. I won't lie there. But you need another guy. I mean, Josh Gordon's not the guy. Mecole Hardman is not the guy. I mean, they've struggled so much to find another guy. They tried to sign Juju Smith-Schuster in the offseason, couldn't get that done. I wonder if Odell Beckham clears waivers and he goes, I would love to see Odell Beckham there. And I think that would be, he's not this, game-breaking or superstar that he used to be, but just to have another body in there to make things a little easier. Because right now, they don't have a whole lot offensively other than Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and which sounds crazy because those are two of the best players in the NFL at their respective positions. But maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need to add another guy. Maybe, the trade deadline's over. You can't do it that way. But hope maybe they can bring in Odell or somebody off the street and just get another body in there because teams know that if it's not Tyreek, if it's not Travis Kelce, they don't have much of a run game. They can't do anything in that aspect. So to me, I too think it is fixable, and I find it so hard to believe that the Chiefs are just this. They're just bad now. I just find it so hard to believe. But this was a bad game for the most part to watch. Two offensives really stuck in mud. And speaking of offenses stuck in mud, why don't we move on to the next game? Probably the most surprising outcome from Week 9 in the NFL season. And that was the Buffalo Bills losing 9-6 to the Jacksonville freaking Jaguars. Mike, what the heck happened in this game?
I can tell you what did not happen, Joe. We did not get to see a single touchdown in this football game.
I love it.
They had the over-under. They had the under at 48.5 points. I did not think they were going to put up, 15. 15 points. The Bills and the Jags. And the best part is the Jags win. Like, as a Pats fan, I love to see it because now we're only half a game back in the division. But there was no offense here. This was all, the Bills get the ball, can't do anything. Jags get the ball, can't do anything. I mean, the score was 3-3 after the first quarter, then 6-6 after the second quarter, and then 3 points were scored the next 2 quarters combined. There was a total of 5 field goals in this game. That is your football game. The Jags winning in a field goal kickoff. Like, if you told me Josh Allen's going to throw for 264 on 31 pass attempts, but have no touchdowns and 2 picks, and Lawrence is going to have 118 yards off 15 pass attempts, no touchdowns, no picks, like, I honestly would have been like, yeah, that's a good one. And then you tell me the Jags win. No. Yeah. Like, there's just no way. Now, Joe, Urban Meyer has, as you can see, 2 wins. 2 wins.
Oh, God.
We talked about Urban Meyer a lot early on in the season, and he now has 2 wins, and one is against the Buffalo Bills. And it was just, again, another one of those games that if you tuned in, you would have right away tuned away. I mean, I think I would have rather have watched the Chiefs and Packers game 3 or 4 times over before watching this game again.
Yeah, this was an ugly game. And for those that, you guys who are listening, you can't see what Mike did, but when he said 2 wins, he was holding his fingers up in a precarious position. One that
Urban Meyer fashion.
Yeah, one that Urban Meyer might be familiar with. But yeah, this was an ugly game, especially for the Buffalo Bills, a team that a lot of people, including myself, would have said is one of the best teams in the NFL before coming into this week. And I just want to say to everybody that made fun of my Miami Dolphins for losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. At least they scored some points on this defense. The Buffalo Bills couldn't even get that done. I'm just kidding. My team is still a mess. But
they won.
They did win. They did win, which the Buffalo Bills can't say this week. But to me, I've been thinking this for weeks, and I've said it a few times, and I've tried not to harp on it too much because I think people just dismiss me as being a Bills hater. Which, sure, you can call me a Bills hater. Their offense has some serious issues, and it's had some serious issues through the first half of the season. There's been weeks, at a time where their offense at the beginning of games and throughout games struggles to get anything consistently going, and Josh Allen is not playing as accurately as he was last year. His accuracy is not as good as it was last year, and very much the same way with the Chiefs. This team relies so much on the big plays, and they also rely on plays where Josh Allen just does magical things where he rolls out and spins away from 3 guys and jukes a guy out and stiff arms a dude and then throws a 26-yard pass on 3rd and 22, and it's when those lucky plays, and I don't want to say lucky because there is skill involved, but there's also some luck involved with the Chiefs and the Bills, and that luck has run out a lot for these teams. They're not making those big plays, and occasionally they still do. There was a few plays in this game where the Bills made huge 3rd down conversions, but you got to find ways to march the ball down the field methodically, not having to just rely on those deep shots, those deep bombs, because teams are playing that cover 2, and that's killed these 2 offenses. That cover 2, keeping 2 safeties deep, just covering guys down the field, it's absolutely destroyed these offenses. And to me, you have to find different ways to win. But I do want to I got to talk about the Josh Allen on Josh Allen crime. We cannot not talk about that. I mean, Josh Allen, the defensive end / linebacker for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who would have guessed he was the best guy named Josh Allen in this game? This guy sacked his namesake, Josh Allen. Josh Allen sacked Josh Allen once. He got an interception off Josh Allen. That's right, Josh Allen intercepted Josh Allen. And then Josh Allen got a fumble recovery on Josh Allen. What an insane thing. I saw a lot of people that are like, oh, this is so dumb. Stop bringing this up all the time. Or it's they're over it. It's this is the craziest thing ever. How are you, people are so cynical. It's this is insane. This is such a crazy, not only is there a player in the NFL that has the same name as another player, but they were both 1st round picks. They were both actually picked with the exact same number pick in the draft. I think they were both the 11th pick or something like that. So they were both picked with the same number in the draft, And then they're both like to have two NFL players with the same name is crazy. To have them playing at the same time is insane. And then to both be really, really good at football is crazy. I don't know. I don't know about you. Was this not the craziest thing?
Like, when I first saw it, I thought it was one of those situations like Marcus Mariota throws a pass to Marcus Mariota, where it hits off of something, and then he catches it. But then I realized Josh Allen sacks Josh Allen. I was like, that doesn't happen. Josh Allen recovers a fumble from Josh Allen. I was like, what? And then Josh Allen intercepts Josh Allen. I was like, kid, that doesn't work. And then I realized what was going on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is nuts. I think the only thing that would make it better is if they're both number 17.
Yeah, that would be great.
Then it'd be like, holy cow. I mean, one of those crazy instances. And you talked about luck not too long ago. Let me just tell you, as an AFC East fan, the Jags play the Jets and the Pats in the upcoming weeks. The Jags are now 2-0 against AFC East teams, so I'm terrified. I counted that game as a win. No longer. That is a scary game. And hey, if you're a Bills fan, I am absolutely worried for you because you get the New York Jets next week, and if Mike Lightning is ready to go, that's not an easy game for you either, buddy. Yeah. I mean, Mike White's coming for you, and them Jets, they can play some football still. So if you're the Bills, I'd be a little bit concerned if you only put up 6 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I mean, yeah, it was quite the game. And if you look throughout all the games, I mean, we're not going to go through all the games, but basically all the way down the games this week, it's just a bunch of weird things happening. You had the Cowboys get blown out by the Broncos. Somehow the Falcons pulling off a last-minute comeback win. You had the Packers losing to the Chiefs by barely. They put up 20 points combined. Titans winning. I mean, and the only thing that would have made this week better is if the Lions get a win. But I think they were barely able to win their bye week.
Yes, they barely survived the bye week. An insane week of insane games. Why don't we do a quick little thing? This is not, I don't have this in the rundown or whatever or in the script, but some of the teams that suffered these weird losses. I'm going to ask you who you're worried about and who you're not worried about.
I'm in. Okay. I'm in.
So the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you worried in the long term about the Kansas City Chiefs?
For this season, yes. Are we talking about long term as in season or couple years
Well, you can take it where you want. Let's say this season, but if you're concerned about the future, you can let us know about that as well.
I'm concerned about the future because I feel like they don't have the money to spend and go get big names. Like, they already have a decently stacked roster, and they're not performing well. So I don't know how they're going to get better players unless they restructure a lot of contracts. So I am worried for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's fair. I do. I think they just got to bank on the fact that they're going to be viewed as a Super Bowl contender, and maybe teams will take discounts to play, or players will take discounts to play with them. That's what they have to be hoping for. But I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned. I that's without a doubt. But why don't we talk about the Cowboys? The team, the Cowboys. They essentially lost 30-0 in this game. They had a couple garbage time scores, but they were down 30-0 to the Denver Broncos. Heck of a performance by Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos. But are you worried about the Dallas Cowboys going forward after a pretty embarrassing loss on Sunday?
I'm actually not, and for the reason being, Dak came back after essentially not playing for 2 or 3 weeks. He was a little rusty, so I'm not worried about the Cowboys. And I know they were garbage time touchdowns. But for them to score within the last 3 minutes 2 touchdowns gives them maybe a little bit of confidence going into next week. They got their offense somewhat rolling. The defense was on the field a long time in this game, so they got tired. I am not concerned for the Cowboys this season, but we'll just have to wait and see. What about you?
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. There's games like this. Teams have off games, and this was an ugly game. And I think every season, even the good teams, they have weeks that they look back on and they just say, wow, we just didn't have it that week. And I think Dak Prescott really talked about that in his press conference. He said, they just kicked our butt. We didn't play well. And I'm not too concerned about the Cowboys. I still think they have an incredible offense. And I thought that defense has played really, really well this season. But they did get manhandled in this game by the Broncos. So I'm not too concerned in the long run. But how about the Bills? Are you concerned for the Buffalo Bills going forward this season and potentially going forward with Josh Allen in the future?
That's a hard one because, this season, I'm concerned. I'm not concerned for the future. I feel like they will figure it out because when they win the game, when they're playing well, they're putting up 30-plus points a game. Their offense is rolling. But it seems like in the 2 or 3 games they've lost, they've kind of just stalled a little bit. They still put up decent points, but they've just kind of stalled offensively. So they kind of need to do what the Chiefs need to do, figure out the offense, and not always bank on the hero play. But I'm not overly concerned for the Bills.
Yeah, I think when you have the quarterback in place, you have a little leeway. So I'm not totally concerned. And although Josh Allen has struggled at times this season, I still think he's a very talented, very good quarterback. And he's gonna have. I think there's gonna be weeks where he struggles because he's an explosive player, but he makes those mistakes. He makes those boneheaded plays at times. So I'm not overly concerned about the Buffalo Bills, but I think they're very lucky. Them and the Chiefs alike, very lucky that the AFC East is a complete, or the AFC, sorry, in general, is a mess. I mean, nobody has any idea really what's going on in the AFC. I think they're very much helped out by that. So I'm not too concerned about the Bills, but this was definitely a disheartening loss. And before we move on to winners and losers, we'll just talk a little bit about a few other, I want to give you a chance to talk about your Patriots game. What are your thoughts, just real quick, on the Patriots putting a beating on the Carolina Panthers?
Joe, it was fun to watch. Again, one of those games where the passing game struggled the entire game. It really sucked to watch. But
are
we
you
had to
concerned
run
about Mac Jones at all, or is it just
as a dirty player or as a quarterback?
I was gonna get into that later as well. We can get into that. Let's say as a quarterback for now.
Okay, as a quarterback, no. Mac Jones he had a good completion percentage again this week, but again, I think it's more Josh McDaniels in the play calling. I don't think they're letting him shine. I feel like they're still holding him back a little. Like the offense, it stalled with the passing game, but they were running. The passing game just wasn't there. They weren't running the best plays, in my opinion. Like they had a good run game, the play action, and the offensive line was struggling a lot. Like Mac Jones got absolutely obliterated on that play where the dirty play.
Yeah, dirty play.
And then he had the pick to Gilmore, which was just it wasn't the worst throw, but just I don't know. It was just one of those good plays by the defense, but I think their game plan was drawn up to run the ball more and focus on the run game because. I mean, I believe, let me pull up the stat real quick. Mac Jones only threw for 139 yards on 18 pass attempts. So and they got their defense had 3 interceptions. One was a pick 6. And so they really didn't need to score many points. But they're I think they're fine. Mac Jones is fine as a quarterback. They just need to get the passing game going. But Mac as a dirty player.
Yeah, what were your thoughts
Mac
on that?
do
you have a defense for that, or do you think that it was an intentional dirty play, or what do you think happened there?
So Mac and Bill both claimed that I'm blanking on the defensive player's name. Anyway, they claimed that he got hit, and then they thought he had the ball. Or Mac thought he had the ball. Was it Burns?
I think
it
was Brian Burns. I'm not totally sure. I think it was Brian Burns.
They believe, or Mac said he thought he had the ball. I think Mac was more upset that he got absolutely destroyed, so he was upset about it. Dirty player, I would say Mac is not a dirty player. Was it a dirty play? I will say yes, it was a dirty play because even if you're going for a tackle around the legs, you grab the leg and you just hold on and wait for your other teammates to come and help you out, or you grab both legs if you can. Yeah. But to grab the leg and then twist it, that's where. And I mean, you could say the player was kind of twisting around, so he was just kind of holding on for dear life, like. You can go about it either way. I think it was more like he grabbed the leg and twisted it. And, I've had a nasty knee injury before that was very uncomfortable. So to watch it kind of sucked to watch. But I don't think he's a dirty player. It was just one of those heated in the moment things that he's got to control his emotions better. And if he gets a fine, he just has to learn from it.
Yeah, I watched that play back, and my initial reaction was like, whoa, what the heck is he doing? Like, I was like, that's dirty. I can see why, like, how he could think that Brian Burns had the football. He didn't really see exactly what happened. The play doesn't look good. It certainly, if you just look at it, first look, it does look like a dirty play. I don't like the way that he twisted around his ankle. Like that it did not look good. That's not the way to tackle. Like that would be a dirty way to tackle. I don't think that Mac Jones is a dirty player. Like some people are calling for him to be suspended and stuff. And it's like, okay, let's relax. I mean, I can see a way in which it could have been an accident. And I'm not going to say Mac Jones is a terrorist for trying to take off Brian Burns' ankle or whatever. I think it was a heat of the moment play, and he got caught up in it a little bit. So I don't think he's a dirty player, but I think he should be fined for it. I mean, it is a dangerous play, and I think he will be fined, and I think he should accept that fine and learn from it. But I don't think that was a dirty play. But the Patriots team in general, I think they're a team that's coming at their own. Their defense has been really impressive the last few weeks. They're a defense they struggled a little bit to start off the season, but they're really coming to their own. They had 3 interceptions, and man, if only they had that Stephon Gilmore guy on the other team.
I know. I mean, Joe, JC and Stephon would be lights out.
Can you imagine?
Man, I mean, but hey, JC, as people were calling him Justin Bethel, because the announcer after he had his pick 6 was like, "That's Justin Bethel running down the sideline." I was like, "No, it's JC Jackson."
Ouch.
But no, JC's looking good this year, and I'm not honestly like the defense has come around solidly. It doesn't look like we're missing him. Jalen Mills has played pretty decent, and dang it, now I'm blanking on that other young rookie defender's name. He wears number 41. I can't think of the name at the moment, but he's really stepped up big. Linebackers have been good. So the defense looks really solid, honestly, without Stephon Gilmore, and I hope we can continue playing like this. But, Joe, before we move on, I know this is going to be a long episode, and I apologize for that.
That's all right.
We got to talk at least for like a minute or two about your Miami Dolphins getting a win.
Yeah, man, we did it. All right. Oh, boy.
Nice.
I mean, we did it, and we did it in very unimpressive fashion against the Houston Texans. Fun fact about this game, 9 turnovers in this game. The most of any game in the NFL this season, and I think that kind of puts into a bow what this game was. Just one of the ugliest football games I've ever watched. I mean, we got the news right before the game started that Tua wasn't going to play because he hurt his fingy, and I don't know. I'm so over the fact. I'm so over this injury thing with Tua. I mean, it's a real factor. What other quarterback? I don't know. What other quarterback's not going to play in that situation? I mean, it's just a bad look. For a guy that struggled with injuries, you got to play. You got to play, man. I understand your finger hurts. He practiced all week. He threw all week. Why did he not play? We had to watch Jacoby Brissett be a garbage quarterback. But no, hey, listen, I'll be positive. They won the game. They finally beat Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor has kicked their butt for years. They finally beat Tyrod Taylor. So it's good for the Miami Dolphins to finally get a win after 7 straight losses. A win's a win, whatever. Maybe we can string it together and still make the Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Mike's eating a W right now on the Skype. Very good. We ate a W this week. A very ugly game, but,
lots of them this week, Joe. Don't sweat it, man.
Finally got one in the win column, just in time for them to get completely shellacked by the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football. So
can't wait to see it, man.
Looking forward to that. Why don't we go into biggest winners and losers from Week 9? And I'll let you go first. Who's your biggest, whatever you want to start off with, loser or winner? Who's your biggest loser or winner from Week 9?
Joe, I'm gonna go biggest winner, the Tennessee Titans. After we talked down on them a lot at the beginning of the season, they've really come into shape these past few weeks. And to beat the Los Angeles Rams, like that really showed that they're a team you don't want to mess with the Tennessee Titans. And for my loser, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. Just for the fact that they got Dak Prescott back. We were all expecting a 35-14 shellacking against the Broncos. And to just come out and absolutely just fall apart on national television, Joe. It was quite embarrassing, but, hopefully they can get it turned around. But for this week, they will be my biggest loser, and the Titans will be my biggest winner. What do you got?
Those are good picks. I had those in consideration for mine. I'm going to go with my biggest winner from Week 9. I'm going to say it's the Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, the guy's been blasted all season long. Everybody's calling for him to be fired, and he's going to be fired. This was a big win for them, despite scoring no touchdowns. You beat one of the best teams in the NFL. Like, nobody would have ever given them a shot to win. I think they were like 2-score underdogs in this game. Like, it was just not even close. So a big win for old Urban Meyer. And Trevor Lawrence got hurt in this game. I think he's going to be okay. So that's another big win. You didn't lose Trevor Lawrence. So good win for Urban Meyer. And my biggest loser, I have a few written down here. I'm going to make a decision on the spot right now.
Nah, go ahead and list 2 or 3
Okay,
of them. That's fine,
all right,
Joe.
fine.
It's your show. You make
I'll
the
break
rules.
the rules. I'm going to say, I'm going to start with the 49ers. I think the 49ers are a big-time loser. To lose to the Arizona Cardinals in convincing fashion, they got whooped by Colt McCoy.
Yep.
And DeAndre Hopkins didn't play, and
Yep.
Colt McCoy starting at quarterback, and it wasn't close. And this is a team that I think had Super Bowl aspirations before the season, and so just a disappointing season as a whole. And their quarterback position looks foggy, and Kyle Shanahan getting all this praise for being an amazing coach. He's had a lot of losing. He's done a lot of losing there in San Francisco, despite that one Super Bowl season. I mean, he's gonna have to answer some tough questions ahead. And some other losers, the Bills, obviously, that's a really embarrassing loss. And then I think the Bengals are one of the biggest losers from this week. They were a team 2 weeks ago, number 1 seed in the
Number
AFC.
1 seed, I believe.
Now
they're not even in the playoff
nope,
picture.
they're last in their division. They're the last place
Yep.
team in the AFC North after 2 weeks ago being the number 1 seed in the the AFC. A disappointing fall from grace. Hopefully they can bounce back, but to me, this was a disheartening week, being dominated by the Cleveland Browns. It wasn't really close. Joe Burrow really struggled. A really impressive win for the Browns. You could definitely count them as one of the biggest winners from Week 9. But a disappointing performance from the Cincinnati Bengals. But why don't we move on to our next segment? It's our mid-season awards. We've officially, by the time you're listening to this, we've made it through the halfway point of the 2021-2022 NFL season. And we did our award predictions at the beginning of the season. And why not do it midway through? Why don't we pick who we think at the current point is the MVP, the comeback player of the year, the defensive player of the year, the offensive rookie of the year, all that. And then we'll throw in a couple other awards that we didn't do at the beginning of the season. But Mike, why don't you start things off? Who's your coach of the year through 9 weeks in the NFL season?
So in the off season, I put I believe it's Brandon Staley of the Chargers, and I've changed to Mike Vrabel of the Titans. Yeah, I think he's really guided that team now to a 7-2 record after getting absolutely shellacked by the Cardinals week 1. They've quietly snuck into 7-2. And no, Mike Vrabel's really done well to bring that team back, and they look like a scary, tough team. Like that's a team you don't want to go play right now, Joe.
100%.
What about you?
I'm actually kind of ticked off at you because I have Mike Vrabel as my coach of the year as well. I thought I was being so
Very
smart
nice.
and sneaky with that. I thought that was such a good pick. So I like your pick. Mike Vrabel is also my coach of the year. I considered John Harbaugh and Cliff Kingsbury as well. I think John Harbaugh's done a good job coaching up a very injured team, and obviously the Cardinals are really good, but the Titans, they've beat some really good teams. And if they can continue to win without Derrick Henry, that is impressive. And the way their defense has turned around, I think Mike Vrabel absolutely deserves the midseason award of Coach of the Year. And I'm actually, it's kind of funny that we both thought of the same thing, Mike Vrabel as the Coach of the Year. Let's see if we agree with any of these other ones. Who's your, I think that we actually might agree with this next one. Who's your comeback player of the year through 9 weeks in the NFL season?
Through 9 weeks, I still have Dak Prescott, Joe. Even though he was not the best quarterback this week, I still think Dak has played very well throughout the season, and I think he will pick it up and play very well next week and continue to play well into the playoffs. So I think Dak's going to walk away with that award pretty well.
Yep, I got Dak Prescott as well. I agree with you on there as well. He's 69% completion percentage on the season, 2,045 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, all coming off a brutal ankle injury where his leg was snapped in half. I love Dak Prescott. I think he's a tremendous guy. All the stuff that he's got to go through the last few years with his mom dying and then his brother dying, and he's talked about his battle with depression and that injury. I think he's an amazing human being, and it's really cool to see him improving. Even though he did struggle this last week, to me he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Me and you have agreed on that for weeks now.
Absolutely.
He's awesome, and really cool to see him come back like that. And why don't you give me your offensive rookie of the year through 9 weeks, Mike?
Joe, I think I had Mac Jones, and I'm switching to Jamar Chase.
All right.
And I don't think either of us thought this in the offseason after the him talking about the football being harder to catch. Jamar Chase has looked absolutely lights out as a young rookie receiver, and he's been absolutely fun to watch. And he just puts up monster numbers, it seems like, every week. So I think he should be able to get the Rookie of the Year if he continues to play the way he has been playing.
Wow, I'm actually surprised. I thought you were going to stick with Mac Jones. I thought you were going to go with the homer pick on that one.
He's a dirty player, Joe. I can't follow that.
That's great. Yeah, he's a dirty player. You can't do it. I forgot to say the things, the picks that I had at the beginning of the season. For Coach of the Year, I believe I had Sean McVay as my Coach of the Year at the beginning of the season. Now I have Mike Vrabel. And then Comeback Player of the Year, I had Dak Prescott. And then for Rookie of the Year, I believe I had Trevor Lawrence. I do not have that at this point. He's struggled through some games. I also have Jamar Chase. So this is just going to be a big agreeing fest between me and you, this whole thing, I guess. Jamar Chase has been dominant at times this season. I mean, a deep threat, a guy who can just take the top off defenses. He's got 44 receptions for 838 yards receiving. That's third in the NFL, which is crazy as a rookie. He also has 7 touchdowns, which is also third in the NFL. He's a guy who's really impressed me. I thought about some other guys. I think Mac Jones would probably be second. I mean, he's a quarterback, and I think he's played the best out of the rookie quarterbacks so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then an underrated rookie season, I think Najee Harris has quietly had himself a really good rookie season after a quiet start. But
I tried to trade for him in fantasy, but that got rejected.
Yeah, he's a high prize player in fantasy right now. He's been playing really well, especially as a receiver. But to me, Jamar Chase is the obvious answer for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you have for Defensive Rookie of the Year? And I laugh because I have a feeling we're about to agree on this one as well.
Yeah, Joe. Mine actually hasn't changed since the beginning of the season. I'm going to go with Micah Parsons on the Dallas Cowboys. He's been playing lights out. The boy just doesn't come off the field, especially since he switched from, I believe it was linebacker or outside linebacker to now defensive end. And he says he doesn't care about his position. He just wants to play football. And so I believe Micah should easily walk away with that award.
Yeah, and I agree with you again. I got Micah Parsons. I also had Micah Parsons to start the season. He is a guy, he's all over the place, and you just knew from the beginning he was going to be a dominant player. And I think he is the Jenga piece on that Dallas Cowboys defense. He really runs the show as a rookie already. He's all over the place. I love you saying he doesn't care about what position he plays. He's just a dog. He's just going to go out and make plays. He's got 10 tackles for loss on the season. He's got 5 sacks, 52 combined tackles. He's a versatile player, plays all over the field. And so to me, Micah Parsons absolutely is the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you have, Mike, for your Defensive Player of the Year through 9 weeks of the 2021 NFL season?
Joe, this is where we might disagree.
Right.
I'm gonna go with J.C. Jackson on the New England Patriots.
All right, J.C. Jackson.
I really wanted to go with Trayvon Diggs because he has 7 interceptions, which is leading the league. But he's also been one of those players. He can have a pick 6 and on the next play give up a 75-yard bomb. Yep. He's very hot and cold. And JC is more of a true traditional lockdown corner. He has 5 interceptions, 38 tackles. And you don't want to throw to his side of the field. He had a pick 6 last week and an interception in the end zone. So JC is as locked down as they get. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's also having himself a pretty good solid season. Doesn't have as many picks. But I'm going to go with a bit of a homer pick. I don't think he's going to win the award, but he has played lights out this year. And especially with the way the Pats defense is just on the rise, I think he's going to continue to have success this year.
I actually like that pick. I think J.C. Jackson has played really good. Even though it is maybe a little bit of a homer pick. I thought if you're going to go with a Patriot, you might go with Matthew Judon. But I know he's been really, really good
Joe,
this season too.
I thought of it hard. Like, Judon's been lights out. I don't know. Something about JC, I feel like he's going to finish with 10-plus interceptions this year.
He's played really good. He's a free agent this upcoming year. He's making himself a lot of money. Who did you have to start the year at the beginning of the season for Defensive Player of the Year?
I had Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Okay. I had at the beginning of the season, I believe Chase Young. That Washington defense has not been that good, so definitely don't have him now. For me, I thought about a few players. I thought about Trayvon Diggs. He's got 7 interceptions. He's kind of cooled down. Like you've said, he's kind of a boomer bust guy. I thought about potentially TJ Watt, who's playing right now. I think he has 2 sacks on Monday Night Football as we're recording this, so he's having himself a game. But to me, I went with Myles Garrett, the edge rusher for the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
He can he's a game wrecker. Yeah, he is. Mike is flexing right now. He's got the guns, and he is a dominant player. He leads the league in sacks with 12. He leads the league in quarterback hits with 23, and he's a guy who can just take over games. I remember that game against the Bears. I think he had 4 sacks in that game. He is a game wrecker, and I think it was only a matter of time before Myles Garrett won a Defensive Player of the Year, and to me, he's very much ready to do that this season, so he's my Defensive Player of the Year.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, I think he's just incredible. He's an incredible player.
When you're getting tested for PEDs like 3 times a season, you got to be doing something right.
He looks like he's on every PED you could possibly invent. That guy is just muscle. But have you ever seen the picture of him in high school when he's like standing beside a high school, like other high school guys, and he just looks like a superhero?
I have not seen that picture, but I've seen a lot of like NFL players that just, there's a reason they're in the NFL because they just are built different. Yep. They're so much bigger than their colleagues back in high school.
100%. And Myles Garrett is built different. Who do you have as your offensive player of the year for 2021?
Joe, I would not be surprised if we didn't agree on this one as well. I'm going to go, I don't know who I had at the beginning of the year. Man, who was it now, Joe?
I'm trying to think who you had.
I can't remember now.
I had Christian McCaffrey.
Devontae Adams.
Oh, yes,
it was Devontae Adams. And I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
He has had by far one of the best seasons, if not the best season up to this point by any wide receiver. He has absolutely dominated the wide receiver groups. For some reason, my phone is blanking right now, so I can't pull up a stat line, Joe. I don't know. Who did you have? I'll come back to his stat line.
I also had Cooper Kupp. I can help you out. I have his stats written down. Yeah, I think Cooper Kupp has been dominant. I just looked it up. I had Alvin Kamara before the season started. I think that Alvin Kamara has been awesome, but Cooper Kupp has been so dominant through 9 weeks of the NFL season. He let me pull up his stats here. He has 74 receptions, which is first in the NFL. He's got over 1,000 yards, 1,019 yards, which is first in the NFL. And then, he's got 10 touchdowns, which is first in the NFL. He is a guy who's just dominating in every statistical category. He's got over 130 more yards than the next closest receiver, which is Deebo Samuel. Fun fact, he's the first receiver since Jerry Rice to have 1,000 yards through 9 games. So, this is a historic season for Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has been, he's been so dominant through 9 weeks for the Rams.
Yeah, and if Jared Goff stays with Los Angeles, we don't know if Cooper Kupp ever gets to this point. So, it could be Matthew Stafford making him look very, very talented because they have a pretty well, they have a lot of talent on that offense. And so, yeah, Cooper Kupp's been absolutely wrecking the league this year. And it's been quite fun to watch because I honestly thought it would be Devontae Adams. There was a few other players at the beginning of the year I figured would just go off, but Cooper Kupp was not one of them. And to see Cooper Kupp having the success he is, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. I think if Derrick Henry didn't get injured, I think he would be very much in the running for this award. I think he probably would win it, honestly. But it's too bad that he got injured. But I think that Cooper Kupp very much deserves it. So why don't we get to the big award? The MVP, the most valuable player. Before the season, I believe I had Patrick Mahomes and you had Russell Wilson as your MVP award winner in the preseason preview. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have Patrick Mahomes right now, and I have a feeling you don't have Russell Wilson. So who do you have as your MVP through 9 weeks?
Joe, I really struggled with this one. There was quite a few players I was going through, but time and time again, it usually ends up being a quarterback. And Kyler Murray's just had a really solid year this year, so I'm going to take Kyler Murray to win the NFL MVP Josh Allen was one of them I thought of, but, with the way they struggled against the Jags, I can't think of him. Tom Brady was another one, but I really think Kyler Murray has just played outstanding to bring them to, they were, 7-0, sadly lost the game. But now they are sitting at 8-1, and he didn't even play this last week. So, yeah, I believe Kyler Murray should be able to take that award if he continues to play the way he has this season.
Yeah, hopefully he gets healthy and continues to play so he can secure that award. And I also struggle with this one. I mean, it feels like nobody's really separated themselves. Like there's a bunch of guys that I kind of feel are in the same bunch, and it's like Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray and Josh Allen,
Mac Jones,
and Mac Jones. You just so casually put that in there. But to me, my MVP is Tom Brady through 9 weeks of the NFL season. Yeah, I got to go with old Tom Brady. The guy's been, he's in his prime somehow at 44 years old.
Joe, imagine our dads playing football. That's what we're witnessing.
Essentially what we're witnessing right now. It's insanity. He has 67% completion percentage, 2,771 yards, which is second in the NFL, and he's only behind Matthew Stafford, who's actually played an extra game. So he's pretty much leading the league in receiving yards. He has 25 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That's the most touchdowns in the NFL. And to me, the MVP is also very much a narrative-based award. A lot of narrative goes into it. And to me, to be 44 years old, he would be the oldest MVP of all time, and I think that helps his case. So to me, Tom Brady is my MVP through 9 weeks of the NFL season. But I like your pick of Kyler Murray as well. I think that he's definitely in contention. And Lamar Jackson is another guy I considered. I think Lamar Jackson has been literally the most valuable player for that Baltimore Ravens team. He is so valuable. But quickly before we go on to the picks, why don't we just add a couple more awards? I wanted to get in who's your most surprising team? Who's a team that you weren't expecting much of going into the season, and they've really surprised you in 2021?
Well, Joe, I mean, we brought him up probably 4 or 5 times in this podcast. It's not so much a team that I didn't think was going to be amazing, but after the first 2 weeks of the season, I thought they were just going to finish like almost dead last in the league. And again, we have the Tennessee Titans being one of my most surprising teams. And the reason being is their offense, other than the run game, hasn't been spectacular. Like I said, they got blown out week 1, and somehow their defense has just come together. They now have lost Derrick Henry and still managed to beat one of the best team, if not the best team in the NFL. So they are definitely one of the more surprising teams in the NFL. And outside of them, I probably would have said the Arizona Cardinals, because after the way they kind of fell apart last season, to start the season 7-0, like really mind-blowing. Cliff Kingsbury's got that team playing well, but I'm going to go with the Titans.
That's a good pick. I like that pick a lot. And you gave away my team, and that's the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm sorry, Joe.
It's all good, man. It's all good. The Arizona Cardinals are my most surprising team. They were a team that I thought was going to be last in that division. That was a really talented division going into this season, and I thought they would be an all right team, like kind of a 500, like barely squeaking by team, but they've been so impressive, and this last week was so impressive to me, to be able to dominate a division rival without your starting quarterback and without your starting wide receiver. Such a surprise. Cliff Kingsbury, he's been a tremendous coach, a guy that I kind of wrote off, and a lot of people kind of wrote off. He's had himself a really good year. So I'm going to choose the Cardinals. And then one final thing. Who's been your most disappointing team? Who's a team that you had high expectations for, only to see them fall flat on their face in the 2021 season?
Joe, it's kind of funny because surprisingly, the team I'm about to say has got a winning record in the NFL. They are 5-4, and it's Kansas City Chiefs. Coming into this season, I expected, as much as I don't want to say it, I expected the Chiefs to really come out and be a hot team and be an automatic 1 to 2 seed in the AFC. And they are, I don't even think they're in the playoff picture at the moment. Now that the Pats are 5-4 as well, I believe the Pats are the 7th seed. Now, if I'm not wrong, the Chiefs are the 8th seed. So yeah, the Chiefs, with the amount of struggles they've had offensively, defensively, it's been sad and hard to watch. But like I said, I don't think their season's over yet. I think they have potential and they have a chance, but they really just got to get that offense figured out.
That's a good pick. I like that pick. For me, it's a homer pick. It's the Miami Dolphins. And I thought about other teams. I think the Washington football team's been very disappointing as well. But to me, the Dolphins, this was a team that was supposed to take the next step. The rebuild was supposed to be done. They were supposed to be ready to compete. They were supposed to be a playoff team. They were supposed to win 12 games, and they've looked like a disaster. And, they won a game this week, so I'll give them credit there. But it's just been a disheartening season for the Dolphins. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. Tua just never is able to play, even though he's playing all right when he is playing. And then you have the Deshaun Watson drama that's just constantly being brought up. Brian Flores has looked like a bad coach many times throughout this season. They're one of the worst offenses in football. Cannot score 30 points to save their life. Their defense has had a huge regression. So for me, the most disappointing team is definitely the Miami Dolphins, a team that I had high hopes for, and I think a lot of people had high hopes for, but just really, really dropped the ball this season. But
yeah, it's sad when your starting quarterback gets hurt and you hear less about him and more about Deshaun Watson. Yep. And then when he is playing, you then still don't hear about your starting quarterback. You still hear about Deshaun Watson. Yep. So it's like, if I'm Tua, I'm just going to be injured. Like, why even play?
Yeah, that's the thing. They've done it to themselves. They've done it to themselves. They could have come out and said, hey, we're not interested in Deshaun Watson, but they very obviously are. And this is something that's going to carry on with this team into the offseason. And I don't think it will end until Deshaun Watson is a member of the Miami Dolphins. So they've really done it to themselves, and a disappointing season for the Dolphins. But that wraps up our mid-season awards. A lot of agreeing there early on, but we had some different takes later on in the awards. That was a fun segment, in my opinion. So why don't we move on to...
I loved it.
Not so much fun. Our picks, our pick'ems for the week. And Mike, last week was a struggle bus. 2 weeks ago, we got our wives to pick our picks, and honestly, we should have maybe done that again because...
I think they honestly both picked better than we did this week.
I think they did. I think, honestly, we could have got our children to do the picks this week, and they might have done a better job than we did. I think if my calculations are correct, we both finished 5-8 last week. That's without the Monday night game that's currently going on as we're recording this right now. That brings me to a season total of 79-55, and Mike 2 games back at 77-57. So why don't we try to somehow improve on those picks this week? And why don't we start on Thursday night? My Miami Dolphins host the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm going to pick the Ravens to win because they always destroy the Dolphins, and I don't see this being any different.
See, what sucks about this one is I want to go with the Ravens, but it's just the way the NFL's been this year, Joe. Like, it literally, I'm going to pick the Ravens because I'm just going to do it. But it honestly wouldn't surprise me if the Dolphins somehow win this game.
The NFL's been weird.
They're playing in Miami.
Listen, the NFL's been weird, and Thursday night games are always weird, but I don't know if they're this weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, a lot of these picks this week I actually had a lot of trouble with. This game that we just talked about, not so much. But some of these other games, I found this to be a tough week to pick games. But why don't we move on to the next game? This one not so tough for me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the Washington football team. And I'm going to take the Buccaneers and my MVP through 9 weeks, Tom Brady, to pick up a win against the football team.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to go with Tom Brady as well in that Buccaneers offense. They've struggled, but they are starting to get healthy. I know some players are coming back now from injury. So the Bucs should be able to win this game with ease.
Absolutely. And then on to the Detroit Lions, coming up fresh off a victory in their bye week to face off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh. They haven't been overly impressive this season, but it doesn't take a whole lot. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. The Detroit Lions have played hard, but, I still think that Steelers defense is going to give Jared Goff fits. Who you got in this game?
You know, Joe.
Oh, boy.
I think it's time.
Oh, boy.
Coming off a bye week, I think Motor City Dan's really put it into his players. I think the Lions get their first win, Joe.
No way.
We're gonna go with Detroit. I think it's finally about time.
All right.
And if they lose, I will then officially be done.
Yeah,
picking
you
them.
said that a couple of weeks ago. My Skype was kind of like glitching out, and I could hardly hear you, but I just could assume exactly what you were saying. And you're just all in on the Lions. Even they're like that ex that you just keep going back to, even though they hurt you all the time. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's just hard to, Motor City's got a he's got a special spot in my heart, Joe.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the New Orleans Saints versus the Tennessee Titans. This is actually a tough game to pick because I think the Saints have played well, although they did lose this week to the Falcons. I'm still gonna pick the Titans. I'm done underestimating the Titans. To me, they're one of the best teams in the NFL, and they deserve me to pick them this week. Who you got in this game?
Yeah, I think they're going to get Adrian Peterson going. I think the Titans should get the run game going, which will help the pass game. So I don't think the Saints will have much success against that defense either. So we're going to go with Tennessee.
All right, and then on to Atlanta versus Dallas. I'll keep it short. I think Dallas bounces back in this game. Who you got?
Exactly. They're 9-point favorites, and I'm going to take the Cowboys with those odds.
All right, and then Cleveland at New England. Your Patriots facing the Browns, who just came off a big win, and this was a tough pick for me. I really struggle with this one. I originally picked New England. I thought they would, their defense has played really well. But I think that Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, Denzel Ward, that defense, I think they might make things hard on Mac Jones, especially if who's that? Damian Harris and that other Ramondre Stevenson. If they got injured in this last game, if they're not there, I think it could be a struggle for Mac Jones. So I'm going to pick Cleveland to win. Who you got in this game?
Joe, I'm going to go with the Pats. They are 1.5 point favorites. I think that they're at home, which will help, even though they've struggled at home this season. But their defense, I think, can stop the Browns. And I mean, the Browns is the Browns. But yeah, I think New England, they're going to focus on getting the ball out of Mac's hands quickly, and they're going to try to get the run game going, even if Brandon Bolden is the starting running back. So I think they'll design this game to, get an early lead and then try to hold it. But I'm going to take the Pats. I think they can pull it out.
All right, very good. And then on to the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. I think the Bills will get a bounce back win here. So I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Jets. Who you got in this game?
Joe, it sucks because I don't know who's starting at quarterback. I mean, the Bills open as 13-point favorites, but I mean, if Mike White plays, I think the Bills are in for a surprise, and I'm gonna pick New York.
Really?
Joe.
Okay, all right.
But I just don't want to get roasted if Zach Wilson plays. I'm picking the Jets just because of Mike White starting, because I think honestly Mike White is a decently good quarterback for the Jets. So I'm going to pick them based off Mike White starting. If Zach Wilson starts, you don't roast me.
Okay, all right. I like you taking chances. You're more risky with this than me. You're down to have a little more fun. But
I mean, the NFL's been absolutely unpredictable, so you kind of got to play for that.
That's fair enough. That's very true. And then a divisional matchup, the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. Despite the Jags picking up a big win this week, I still think the Colts are rounding into a fairly good team. I like Jonathan Taylor. I think Carson Wentz, if he can just cut down on the mistakes, I think they can be a good team. Who you got in this game?
Carson Wentz can protect his body. Like, good night. But I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts as well, Joe.
Good pick. And then on to the Minnesota Vikings versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And I'm actually going to pick Minnesota in this game. I think Minnesota's played really close with a lot of good teams, and I think they could give people a surprise against the Chargers.
No, that's a good pick, Joe. And, I mean, the Vikings have just struggled to close this season, but, I mean, the Chargers, I feel like they're going to get one of them. They were able to pull it off against Philadelphia, and I really think that they're going to get a statement win this week, even though the Vikings are 3-5. I think the Chargers will pull this one out and really prove that they deserve to be 6-3 after this victory.
Very good. And then on to Carolina versus Arizona. Sam Darnold is a complete mess. He might not even play in this game. I hope he doesn't play in this game because he's been a disaster the last few weeks. The Cardinals, whether or not they have Kyler Murray, to me, they're winning this game.
No, I agree 100%. I think, honestly, Deshaun They need. I think the Panthers need to go after Deshaun Watson because right now Sam Darnold looks absolutely awful.
And I bet you, I guarantee they will go after some quarterback for sure, and it will most likely be Deshaun Watson in the off season. And then on to
if they wait 5 more years, they can get Tom Brady.
You never know.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Philadelphia versus Denver. This was a tough pick for me. Both these teams, I thought, played pretty well. I mean, Philadelphia didn't win this last week, but they looked good against the Chargers. And then Denver had a big statement win against the Cowboys. But I'm going to pick Denver just because it's at home. It's in Denver, Mile High Stadium. It's tough to play up there with that altitude, so I'm going to pick Denver. Who you got in this game?
Yeah, Joe, I'm also going to go with Denver. They had a big statement win in Dallas, and the Eagles have just been struggling to close out games as well, so we're going to go with the Broncos.
All right, and then on to Seattle versus Green Bay. This one was so tough for me to pick because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is playing or not. I know Russell Wilson seems to be back this week, so I'm going to pick Seattle, honestly, to win this game. Russell Wilson's return. I don't know if Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers is starting, so I'm just going to, I guess, play it safe, but I don't feel good about it. The Seattle Seahawks to win this game.
See, I'm going to go with the take that Aaron Rodgers is starting. I don't see them sitting Aaron Rodgers again, and if they do, I'd be very surprised. I know based off COVID protocols, it could happen. But I'm taking Aaron Rodgers starting and the Packers getting a bounce back win against Seattle.
Right. Hopefully, I hope Aaron Rodgers is starting because that would make this game more entertaining. But then on to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Another tough game here to pick. Both teams, they didn't both win. Kansas City got a win. The Raiders struggled against the Giants and picked up a loss. So I'm gonna pick Kansas City. I just think, I don't know. Eventually they'll figure out one of these weeks. Who you got in this game?
Joe, I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think the way the Chiefs have played this season, they've struggled week in, week out. And I think the Raiders, even though they've also struggled, I think that their offense can produce points, and I think their defense might be able to hold the Chiefs. And we've seen the Chiefs not be able to put up a lot of points in certain games, especially these last 2 weeks. So I think the Raiders can outscore them early and hold a lead.
That's a good pick. I would not be surprised at all to see that happen, but you never know. Hopefully one of these weeks they figure it out.
And it is a division game.
It is a division game, and it is in Las Vegas, so you never know. And then on to the Monday night game, the final game for Week 10, the Los Angeles Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers. Give me the Rams. I don't trust the 49ers at all right now.
Yeah, Joe, I don't need to speculate anything besides the Rams winning this game. I mean, it's that simple.
Yep, and I think a lot of people will agree with us on that one. And it's that simple. The podcast is over. This is the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another one. I had a really dang good time on this week's episode. We had it all. We had a new surprise guest at the beginning of the episode, and then we brought in old reliable Mike to come close out the podcast, and I thought he kicked butt in this week's episode. Mike, thank you so much for doing that once again.
Joe, I appreciate the word old in that statement there. That really helps.
You're an old man now.
No, Joe, I am, and I feel old, but no, Joe, it's easy when your partner's so easy to feed off of. I think you performed stellar in this episode, and it really made my job that much easier. So, hats off to you. I'll give you a little bow and tip of the cap. So,
hey, man, I mean, I'll just take the compliments, but if you guys want to give us compliments, please feel free. Give us a 5-star review. Give us a good rating on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It'll automatically download the episodes. That's so awesome. That makes your life so much easier. Make sure you share this thing with your friends. If you like the podcast, you like football, you like me and Mike, shooting the breeze, talking football, don't be selfish.
Absolutely.
Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your grandparents. Share it with your aunt and uncles. Thanksgiving's.
Share it with your dogs.
Anybody. Thanksgiving's coming up. Just play it over a Bluetooth speaker at your Thanksgiving gatherings.
Share it with the turkeys.
Yeah, exactly. And follow us, the show, on Instagram and Twitter at _Average Joe Show. I forgot to post the pics this week. That's my bad. That's not good on my part.
Joe, I don't think you forgot. I think you knew what you were doing because of how bad we were going to do. So he didn't forget. It was intentional.
There's no evidence of our picks. Very good. But that will wrap up this week's show. Looking forward to a fun Week 10. Hopefully some competitive games. Hopefully more chaos. Honestly, it's good for podcasting. For Mike and for JT and for Joel, who was on the episode, and for myself, we will catch you guys on the next one.